It's a college football Saturday in the city of Riverside. We're here at Ramona High School as the Tigers of RCC take on the Warriors of El Camino. Ghazal Hassan back with you, along with Jeff Gorham. And Jeff, the Tigers topped both JC polls this week. There were 25 first-place votes. They got 25 of them on both polls, and they're looking to avoid the letdown. Big win against Mount Sac last week. They got Cerritos looming, but El Camino is the opponent this week. Going back to that thriller against Mount Sac last week, they ran the football. The offensive line back intact, and Bryce Strong took full advantage.
I'll tell you what, Bryce Strong was amazing. He was slicing through the defense like cutting through cheese. He was amazing, and I'll tell you what, they went against the number one ranked defense, run defense in the entire state, and they took care of business.
All right, the key for RCC all year, Jeff, as we know, has been the play of their quarterback, Jake Zareslav. El Camino, though, brings one of the best pass rushers of the state here to Ramona High School today, led by their defensive end, Lando Brown. He wreaks havoc in the backfield. The Tigers are going to have to account for him.
Well, Lando Brown, he's breaking all kinds of records here at El Camino. A little bit undersized, but a big-time Division I player. Jake Retzlaff is going to have to do everything in his bag of tricks. His head is going to have to be on a swivel, and he's going to have to look out for that young man.
All right, the Tigers look to keep on rolling tonight against El Camino. We have the kickoff coming up next. It is junior college football on Riverside TV.
I'm Cheech Marin, and we're inviting you to reserve your spot for the inaugural showing of Cheech Collects. So get your tickets today. We're looking for you.
It's a college football.
Back at Ramona High School, Ghazal Hassan and Jeff Gorham back with you. Nick Rice patrolling the sidelines. Another exciting edition of Riverside City College football. RCC, Jeff, we talked about it in the open. There are two junior college polls in the state of California. One has 14 first-place votes. One has 11 first-place votes. RCC got all 25 this week after last week's triple overtime thriller where they knocked off Mount Sac.
Well, they should. I'll tell you what, that was one of the best football games I think I've ever seen. It's one of the best you and I have ever called. I'll say that. It was. We were up here and we were putting our fingernails in the booth right here on the countertops. What a great game! But RCC, like you would say, the battle. What would you say? The
battle station fully operational.
There you go. The battle station is fully operational at this time with just 3 more games to play.
Well, it was for Bryce Strong, indeed. All right. We'll step aside and come right back as we pause for the anthem here, Riverside TV.
Help support your favorite businesses with the Shop Riverside Community Card. With over 200 Riverside businesses giving exclusive discounts and offers to community card holders, there's something for everyone. Participating organizations sell these cards for only $15 each, with $10 going straight back to the organization itself, making the Shop Riverside Community Card a fantastic way to support your favorite local group. For more information about the Shop Riverside Community Card and to find participating businesses, please visit shopriversidenow.com. And don't forget to live local. Shop Riverside.
I'm Cheech Marin, and we're inviting you to reserve your spot for the inaugural showing of Cheech Collects. So get your tickets today. We're looking for you.
Welcome back to Ramona High School. Ghazal and Jeff back with you. And getting back into our discussion, last week it was kind of a rough and tumble game. It had to go to the triple OT. But what jumped out at me, Jeff, was that Anthony LaFrance got back on the offensive line. They are missing him for a couple games at RCC. And we talked about Bryce Strong, but the Tigers ran for 342 yards last year. Now, 70 of them came on one run by Jake Retzlaff. So even you taking that away, still over 250 yards. Coming into the game, Mount Sac had allowed 301 rushing yards all year. So let's watch the running game for RCC today.
Yeah, RCC, last week, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. They took care of the clock. They ran the football. and Mount Sac was the number 1 ranked defensive team in the state. And it came down to that, the end of the game and who was going to win. And that overtime, 3-overtime thriller was so much fun to watch. But yes, that offensive ground game was great for the Tigers last week.
So Mark Warwick is going to kick it off. He's out of St. John Bosco. He's the place kicker for El Camino. And he'll kick off to the Flying Espadron brothers, Norian and Norbert, who've both been fantastic in every aspect. And this is Norbert taking it from the 3-yard line. He cuts up and angles out to the 15, trying to turn the corner. He'll get up to the 30-yard line and go down over the 30, close to the 35-yard line for RCC. So a good 32-yard return. And RCC will tee it up there over the 35. 1st and 10, the offensive starters. We talked about Anthony LaFrance coming back, but it's all really been about the quarterback, Jake Retzlaff.
Yeah, I would love to see Jake Retzlaff. I mean, he's great on the ground. He shows he can run the football, but I'd love to be able to see him stand in the pocket and see if they can go over the top on this El Camino defense.
From the 37 officially, it's 1st and 10. McClure and Mejia shuttle into motion. Here's the give. Strong will try to bounce it outside. He'll go up inside across that Ramona High logo up to the 48-yard line. They'll move the sticks. 11-yard pickup for Bryce Strong. So the script picking up right where it left off, running the football.
Ground and pound. If you can do it and you can get yards, why not continue to work on what we thought was their shortcoming this season?
Another give to Strong, trying the middle of that line. This time El Camino will be there to try to knock him backward, making the tackle on the play. The linebacker stepping up. That was DJ Morgan for El Camino. Will stop Bryce Strong. He will traverse into El Camino territory, a couple of yards there to the 49 of the Warriors. 2nd down coming up. That's Reggie Retzlaff on that trips bunch at the top of the formation. They'll swing it out to Tucker at the 48, dancing up into El Camino territory, still on his feet, and there he goes. It's a foot race now. J.J. Tucker, dynamite. Jawan Tucker takes it 48 yards for the touchdown for the Tigers.
Hesitation or not, he stopped on a dime and took off. It was a foot race from about the 40 on. Ran about a 4.40 right there.
Well, once he got outside and got to the 30-yard line, nobody was going to stop him. What a strike there for J.J. Tucker. So quickly, RCC on the board here. Tucker taking that little hitch and going 48 yards with it. That's 24th touchdown pass of the year for Jake Retzlaff. And the PAT by Mariquin is up and good. Surprise, surprise. 6th touchdown of the year for Jawan Tucker. He's the sophomore out of Narbonne, and it's 7-zip in favor of the Tigers. That escalated quickly, Jeff.
That was really fast. Not a pass to be thrown, except just a little ball thrown into the flat there, and then it's a foot race.
It was interesting, though, the first 2 plays of the drive, how they went to the run, and obviously they got some confidence last week from what they were able to do against Mount Sac.
And you watch, it was a broken play. The block wasn't made by anybody. He just eluded everyone, slipped by. And like I said, he runs about a 4.4, it looked like, once he got past that 40.
So Jalen Newton-Dahl and Marquise Yetz back deep for El Camino as Mariquin will tee it off for RCC. A quick 7-0 lead for the Tigers here on Saturday afternoon. Well, I guess no letdown, huh? You're worried about the letdown after the win over Mount Sac, and you got Cerritos looming next week. But Tigers come in, they're taking care of business right away as Mariquin puts his foot into it. This will be into the end zone for the touchback. Marquise Yetz lets it bounce into the end zone, and it'll come out, and the offense will start for El Camino. So El Camino's been in a little bit of a quarterback shuffle this year. They're playing a couple of guys back there. I talked with head coach Gifford Lindheim before the year. He said, we had a couple of injuries early at the quarterback position, and now we're kind of going with the hot hand. The hot hand right now, Corey Graham, the starting signal caller. He is out of Detroit, Michigan, Harper Woods High School. 1st and 10, line is the 25. Here's the give to Santana running right and nothing doing there. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Getting up from the bottom of the pile is Alonzo Gray Hall, and it'll be 2nd down.
Yeah, Riverside going with a 3-man front here.
They'll fling it out to the outside. Catch made at about the 23-yard line. Reception by Joshua Lorick, and he's tackled almost immediately, and third down coming up.
Now, would it still be, if it's a pride of Lions, what would it be, a pride of Tigers?
Good question. I know murder of crows.
A litter of Tigers. We're all over him.
Here's the give, and trapped in the backfield is Stephen Bradford, and 8 not enough for Bradford. 8 defenders almost kind of string him out, lost back to the 21-yard line. So the Tigers push the Warriors back, a very tidy 3-and-out for James Cook's defense, and the punt team comes on for the Warriors of El Camino. As our late friend Vin Scully would say, even before the seats got warm, Jeff. Adam Saul, he's a Midwesterner as well, to kick it away. The freshman out of Gurnee, Illinois.
And there's a goofy mistake by RCC to start this. Too many guys on the field. You can only have 11, Coach.
So we saw that happen last week as well. Speaking of the officiating, Shane Smith, our referee today, Charlie Chastain, the umpire, Kent Bucharau, the head linesman, Greg Links, the line judge, Nicholas Frescas, the field judge, Daryl Brooks, the side judge, and Gil Rodriguez, the back judge. So move it up 5 yards. From the 27 will be the kick for Saul. Saul puts his foot into it. Backing off is Jordan Williams. It'll be downed at the 25-yard line. So a 48-yard kick, no return. And El Camino pins the Tigers back to the 25. It'll be 1st and 10 RCC. Thanks for joining us here on this lovely Saturday afternoon. Great afternoon for football here, and the Tigers looking to extend their win streak to 8 games coming up against that coming up to that big showdown with Cerritos College next week, Jeff.
Yeah, and thinking about this, I mean, the Tigers, we said earlier, they had 8 ranked opponents on their schedule, ranked in the top 25 going into the season, and it is just it's been one daunting game after another.
But they've been up to the challenge. 1st and 10. Retzlaff looking down the field. Here comes Lando Brown. They'll fling it outside for a nominal gain. Gitchaway with the catch. He maybe got 3 on the play. And we talked in the open about Lando Brown. And what a dynamic player is the defensive end for El Camino out of Serra in Gardena. Already has 12 sacks on the year. Had 9 sacks last year. In the game between these two teams last year, had 7 tackles. Did not have a sack of the quarterback, though. 2nd and 7. Retzlaff to Strong out of the backfield. Bryce dancing. Bryce to the open field. Here he goes to midfield, and he's slung down just inside, still in Tiger territory, making the tackle DJ Morgan, the freshman out of Warren.
Yeah, big. If it wasn't for his shirt, he would have been all the way in pay dirt right there.
That's why they tell you to tuck the shirt in, right,
yeah,
Jeff? Although, to be fair, I think Morgan was the one that pulled it out. 1st down, Bears Strong right up the middle, living up to his name, surging forward. Another 1st down for Bryce Strong. Tackle by Jonathan Johnson, the sophomore from Gardena, by way of St. John Bosco, but hold everything. A flag on the Tigers. Putting Shane Smith to work. They'll back that off and hold against RCC. So they'll back it off. Talking about the Warrior defense, El Camino comes in at 3-4 on the year. So it'll still be 1st down, actually just be a 5-yard mark off for RCC. The Warriors allow about 22 points a game, 337 yards, 106 on the ground, 230 through the air. They have forced 13 turnovers, however. Here comes Brown, and Lando blows it up. What have we here, Jeff? Lando blows the play up in the backfield. It's like Cloud City for Lando Brown.
Darn it! You took my my joke. I was hoping for that. Lando came right off the edge. I mean, he was on him right before. I mean, almost as he caught the ball off the snap.
Such a dynamic player. You know, Lando Brown. His crime is being 5'11". If he was 6'2", we'd probably be watching him in the Pac-12 somewhere. The delayed handoff up the middle.
And Brown.
And making the plays, Lando Brown. Lando Brown everywhere today, carrying the ball for RCC on that one. A little bit of a change of pace. It's the was going to say Elijah Agorgi, but no, instead that is Robert Valentine. So Valentine with the carry, and third down coming up. So El Camino's defense stiffens. Strong back in there. Retzlaff being chased. He'll step up into the pocket, and now he'll try to take it himself, and he runs headlong into the middle linebacker, Koa Carroll. Carroll is sophomore out of North Torrance, where he played for longtime head coach Todd Croce. There is a flag down.
And that's because of Lando right there. He was in on that play, nearly got Retzlaff as he was still in the pocket.
Yeah, Lando Brown is the agitator on the defense for El Camino, and I know he's got an offer in his pocket from Hawaii. I really hope the young man gets a chance to play at the next level. He's just such a dynamic player going back to his high school days. And remember, he was a senior that COVID year, so he kind of lost out on having a senior year, which might have been a showcase for him for some bigger colleges. But he's doing the job at El Camino. They're happy to have him with the Warriors. 4th and 10. Here comes the punt team. And a short kick. It'll land at about the 23-yard line and be down at the 22. So a 28-yard kick, no return. And that's where El Camino will take it. Nick Rice has something on the sideline. Nick, better be good. How are you, sir? Welcome.
All right, RCC coach Tom Kraft, his game plan all week was to fix the mistakes. Those mistakes nearly cost them the game last week against Mount San Antonio. Meanwhile, for El Camino, committing 100 yards of penalties in 4 of the last 5 games, they likewise have been battled with some mistakes. It seems as though the team that commits the fewest mistakes will win, even though the Tigers with 3 penalties still have the lead. Guys?
Good job, Nick. 7-0 Tigers, and there's the run. The quarterback will take it himself and get over the right side for a couple of yards. That's Corey Graham, the freshman out of Detroit. Started last week against Cerritos, 19-33, 165 yards through the air, but 59 yards on 11 carries. So he got some giddy-up as he picks up 3 yards on first down. 2nd and 7, here's the throw, and incomplete. On the coverage for RCC, Bryce Tate, intended receiver for El Camino was Jabari Hughes Jr. Hughes Jr. out of Warren High School, Inglewood product. 3rd and 7 coming up. 3rd down conversions on the year. El Camino about 36%. Here's Summers with the rush, trying to get it down the field, incomplete. All the way with the coverage was Keith and Gordon, intended receiver down the field, Joshua Lorick for El Camino, and another 3 and out for the Warriors. Is certainly not how they wanted it to go.
No, and Riverside went with a 4-man front on that last series there. And the outside linebackers and playing, I mean, they're forcing everything on that quarterback to make plays here.
James Cook's defense certainly looks like they have it dialed in early. And here's the kick away from Saul and fielded at the 34-yard line. Another good kick. 40-yard kick, no return. And RCC begins at the 36. Jordan Williams making the fair catch for the Tigers, who lead at 7-0. Welcome. Ghazal Hassan with you. Jeff Gorham alongside. You just heard from Nick Rice down on the field. A little bit of a frying pan situation for El Camino, their 3rd straight ranked opponent. They played Mount Sac on the 15th, Cerritos on the 22nd, and now they're playing number 1 RCC. It's just escalated each week in terms of degree of difficulty for the Warriors, going through a pretty rough part of the schedule, Jeff.
Yeah, anytime you play Riverside, it's definitely the high or low point in your season, depending on how you play against these guys.
Strong dancing outside, gets up to the marker and tackled after about an 11-yard pickup on the play. Making the tackle, Jared Douglas. Douglas, a freshman from San Pedro, Palos Verdes high school product. They'll move the sticks up to the 47-yard line, move Strong. So Bryce Strong picking up right where he left off. Retzlaff with the pump. He'll look down the field wide open. It was Jordan Williams along with Rashawn Lacey, and he couldn't thread the needle. Incomplete. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, I'd love to see Rashawn Lacey get going here. I mean, he's one of those dynamic guys that can go out and catch the football and move all over the place. Love to see him get going today.
Andrew Alvalar, the defensive coordinator for El Camino, trying to piece it together. The Warriors come in having lost their first 2 games in league, but again, against ranked teams, against Mount Sac and then against Cerritos. Jordan Williams in motion, second down. Retzlaff throwing. Bumped up in the air, intercepted. Nick Rice talks about mistakes, and there's the tip drill. DJ Morgan catches the ball off the deflection from Jordan Williams. First down, El Camino.
Yeah, that is huge. I mean, that was a problem at times for the Tigers last week, is turnovers.
Well, a couple of tipped interceptions last week, so can't blame that on Retzlaff. Hit him on the hands, and Williams either has to reel that in or play defensive back and just ensure the opposing defender doesn't grab it. So from the 45, short field coming up for El Camino. Graham, play action, swings to the outside, and nearly taken right back by Bryce Tate. Intended receiver for El Camino was Brendan Hodge. Hodge, the sophomore from St. Pius X in Downey. He's an LA product, and 2nd and 10 coming up.
Yeah, Bryce Tate wanted that one back.
Tight formation. Here's the give. Dancing up the middle is Stephen Bradford, and Bradford traverses out close to a first down. I think he'll be just short to the 36. Bradford prepped at North Torrance. Very unique player. He's the offensive MVP for El Camino last year. He's married. He's a married player.
What?
Yep. Wife, Jaila. So, best wishes to the happy couple.
That is cool.
From Jeff and myself. 3rd and 1. Here's the give. Dancing for the first down, getting inside the 35-yard line is Brian Santana. Santana, an interesting story. He's out of Woodbridge, New Jersey, prepped at St. Thomas More in Connecticut. Played his first couple of years at Papago Community College in Mesa, Arizona. Was a junior college All-American, and now he's up playing with Gifford Lindheim in El Camino. Here's the option. And Graham takes it across the 32-yard line.
So far, El Camino's been able to run the football right up the middle here on Riverside. Let's see if Riverside's going to take some of those guys off the edge and put them back here in the middle of the field, which they look like they are. They've got a 3-man front, but 2 guys, 3 in the secondary right there.
3 true freshmen along that offensive line for head coach Gifford Lindheim and offensive coordinator Tim Cobb for El Camino, who off the turnover now are driving. 2nd down and 6, line is the 32. Graham to throw. Looking over the middle, intercepted. Deflected and intercepted by RCC. So the turnover comes right back to the Tigers.
No flags.
Picking it off, guess who? I'm going to give you one guess who picked that off.
That was my guy, DeMarco Moore.
Ding, ding, winner, winner, chicken dinner. DeMarco Moore with another pick on the season. He's got 7 on the year. Johnny on the spot. When they needed a turnover, he takes it right back.
You know, we've seen 6 of them. Think about it. We've seen he had the 3 in one game.
3 and 2. And
2,
now,
and then
now
we've
today. So DeMarco Moore making the play, the sophomore out of Arcadia.
I bet you an ice cream sundae he gets another one today.
All right, you're on. 1st and 10 from the 37. Play action. Retzlaff looking for it all. He's got a man down the field, his brother Reggie, and in traffic, Retzlaff goes up and takes it away, and he's power slammed down to the 16, but it's no matter. He brings in the catch, a 47-yard completion, and they flip the field. Retzlaff to Retzlaff. Boss Hogg is infuriated somewhere. Them Dukes, them Dukes.
Hey, when you're 6'3", 215 pounds, and can jump a little bit, that's a jump ball situation, brother to brother every time. We've seen that many times this season.
1st and 10 from the 17. Option. This is Jake Retzlaff around the left side. He's got an open space inside the 5. Tackled at about the 3-yard line is Jake Retzlaff. Stopping the forward progress there for El Camino. Making the tackle, Nathan Afoka. No, check that instead. Jacob Kalolo, he's the freshman out of Lawndale, finally drags him down at the 3-yard line, so a 14-yard pickup. Under 6 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Retzlaff rolls right, throws incomplete, a little bit of a low throw, gets away the intended receiver, will stop the clock. Going back to Reggie Retzlaff, I was talking with Tom Kraft, because Reggie missed most of last year with an injury, and one thing he did, obviously in the rehab, really got in the weight room. We always knew he was a great route runner and a great pass catcher. You tell me, he seems a lot more physical this year.
A lot stronger, and physically you can tell he's put on some weight, some strength. He was kind of a slight kid out of high school.
And Strong may have gotten whistled the illegal movement on the lean there. Anticipating the snap, he leaned a little bit, and that was enough to have the official Shane Smith throw the flag. But getting back to Reggie Retzlaff, obviously, came out of Corona Centennial. It's a pretty high flight program, but the increased emphasis now at the next level in the NFL in terms of being in open space, you still got to be physical, Jeff.
You have to be physical, and his size. 6'2", like I said, 215, 220 pounds.
Second and goal from the 5. Strong bounces it outside, trying to get to the pylon, but he will be stopped. Making the tackle on the play was Fred Martin III, the sophomore out of Inglewood High, alma mater of our old friend Reggie Theus. I think they graduated a few years apart, meaning Mr. Martin and Mr. Theus. Reggie's got a birthday coming up, I think in a couple weeks. Third and goal. Under 5 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Already 7-0 RCC. The defense for the Tigers plays around a turnover. Throw over the middle. Incomplete. In and out of the hands of Norbert Espadrone. On the coverage for El Camino, stepping in and making the play, Devin Jarvis out of Bishop Amat. And the field goal, Jacob Marroquin in to make the kick. Marroquin has been so good all year. About a 21-yard attempt, and it's up and it's through, and it's 10-0 RCC. And so they dodge the turnover, and they get a turnover on the other side and convert it into a field goal, Jeff.
And I'll tell you what, you felt like a little bit of a sigh, like they didn't get a touchdown, but when you have Marroquin out there who's just automatic, you got to be happy with knowing. He basically won that game last week for Riverside, other than the wide right, which both kickers missed.
It's got to be great comfort to Tom Kraft knowing that once you get to about the 30-yard line, you more or less have 3 points in your pocket. And even, what is he? What's his long this year? I think it's 47, but I'm sure he's capable of going back and hitting one over 50. Marroquin, 43 is his long this year. He's only missed 2 field goals all year, and now 39 for 39 on point after touchdowns. So Marroquin booms it deep, and it's a touchback. 10-0 lead with 4:36 to play in the first quarter, Jeff.
Yeah, if you're Riverside, like you said, you probably won a touchdown on that last possession, but they're getting points here every drive so far.
So El Camino back out there. They played Cerritos tough. It was a 22-20 win for Cerritos. So although we mentioned, they're 0-2 in league, their games have been against Mount Sac and Cerritos. Mount Sac took care of them pretty readily, 24-7. Handoff to Santana, and he gets up over the 25 before he's thrown back. Moore in on the hit, along with our friend Malifeo Tupo. Also in on the hit, the big fella in the middle, Tassi Laufo.
Yeah, in conference, overall preseason, they were 408 yards of offense per game. In conference, they've gone down to 232 yards.
Tigers jump a free play, intercepted, but it's all going to come back. Peterson Lewis picks it off. Graham utilizing the free play after the Tigers jump. It'll be a 5-yard penalty.
So, yeah, they have dropped off quite a bit since they've hit into league play. In fact, passing yards, they were at 220 prior to getting into conference, now just 132. But, hey, when you're playing the best conference in the state of California, you're gonna have to play some tough teams, and that will definitely drop your.
They played RCC tough last year, though. It was a 34-27 game. Is some tough mudding inside by Santana. He finally goes down. Tupou in on the tackle for RCC. Also there, Albert Woncheng, the sophomore from Taylorsville, Utah.
And confusion again on defense.
3rd and 2 coming up. A lot of movement, making sure they have the right amount of players on the field.
5 guys up front for Riverside.
Graham looks to his sideline. Here's the turn and give, trying to run to the right side. Flushed out by Peo Peo. Trying to run is Marquise Yetz. Marquise Yetz, the freshman from Inglewood out of Mater Dei High School. And P.J. Pelu Pelu brings him down short of the first down, and a punt coming up for El Camino.
Boy, Riverside's defense came ready to play today, didn't they?
Yeah, they got their ears pinned back. They're going after the Warriors. And, James Cook's done such a great job since he's been the defensive coordinator for RCC. And, he's always got – he's really good at the adjustments, Jeff. We've seen that a number of times. So fielding the punt at the 22-yard line is Williams, and down he goes.
Another great punt.
Justin Evans makes the tackle for El Camino and down at the 21-yard line. 45-yard kick, no return, and 1st and 10 from the 21 for RCC. They already lead at 10-0. We're down to 2:36 to play in the first quarter. Ghazal Hassan with you along with Jeff Gorham. On the sideline, the great Nick Rice. And moving towards playoffs, Jeff. And RCC looks like they're pumping on all cylinders. Here's the give to Strong. We'll try to get outside. He'll dance out and move forward. Instead, that's Ugorji. So that was Ugorji earlier. Ugorji strings it out for about 7 yards. Second down and 2. We'll go down to Nick Rice on the sideline real quick.
All right, Tiger coach Tom Kraft was incredibly frustrated by the drops. The whole coaching staff brought over the receivers saying, we got to do a better job catching the ball. It was a problem last week, and it's been a problem so far today, guys.
Antonio Murillo says hello to Ogorji in the backfield, dropping him. The sophomore out of Culver City makes a big play. And 3rd down coming up, and we've talked about it. A couple of the picks the last week were on deflections. The pick this week has been on a deflection.
You got to be able to catch the football.
So Alfred Jordan, Rashawn Lacey, and Retzlaff split out to the near side. Big 3rd down play coming up. Strong, the lone man in the backfield. He'll throw to the outside, and it's complete to J.J. Tucker, but he'll get up to the 38-yard line, 1st down. So Tucker already with a touchdown today, and he's up over to the, let's call it the 37-yard line. 1st down Tigers.
Jake Retzlaff in this first quarter already 4 of 8 for 125 yards.
That big 47-yard hook up to his brother. 1st and 10 line is the 37 for RCC. Two receivers to the bottom of the formation. Jawan Tucker up top. Looking to Tucker. Lofting it down the field. One-on-one coverage. Incomplete. Tucker running step for step with Jonathan Johnson. 2nd and 10. Tigers will finish up on the road at Cerritos, at Chaffee their last 2 games, trying to hold on to the number 1 state ranking. 2nd and 10 from the 37, play action. Retzlaff out throwing, complete at midfield. Running with it and bumping him out of bounds. Gitchaway makes the catch. He'll be bumped out of bounds at about the 22-yard line. So at a 41-yard move. So 1st and 10, call it the 23. So a 40-yard completion officially. Then they move Gitchaway to the top of the screen as we tick down to the end of the first quarter. Retzlaff to the near side, near slot Rashawn Lacey. So empty set here, 5 receivers in the formation. Now Strong resets the running back. 1st and 10 for the Tigers. Retzlaff stepping up. Pumps. There's a throw to the end zone. Tipped and knocked down, incomplete. Jared Douglas with the play for El Camino. A couple of Tigers running behind. I think it was Alfred Jordan running behind on the pattern. That's the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, a lot of time, though, for Retzlaff to throw that football. Just great defense by the secondary of El Camino. But during that first quarter, Jake Retzlaff, 6-11 of 11, 169 yards.
Flag on the play. Let's see what Shane Smith has to say. They'll move it back 10 yards. That'll be end of the first quarter. And one adjustment that was made by the offense in particular, we didn't hear Landon Brown's name.
No, we did not. Got to keep him away from him.
So we're going to run one more play untimed here. This will be the end of the last play of the first quarter. You can't end the quarter on a penalty. So one more play for RCC, and then officially we'll have the end of the first quarter. Like that thing in Fletch when they say, no, when he actually really died. That was very sudden. The great Emmett Walsh and Chevy Chase with a little repartee there in the original version of Fletch.
We saw the new one. It wasn't bad.
2nd and 20 from the 33. Here comes the blitz. Retzlaff pumps, now finds a soft spot over the middle. This is Rashawn Lacey to the 25, still on his feet, still dragging tacklers with him. They'll mark it to the 17-yard line. So a 16-yard pickup. That'll be the end of the first quarter. And so it'll be a 3rd down at the 17-yard line for RCC. It'll be 3rd and about 3 when we resume action. 10-0 Tigers at the end of the first quarter. So after that thriller last week against Mount Sac, this one a little bit different. The complexion of this one a little bit different. But keep in mind, RCC ran out to a lead last week as well, and then the Mounties came right back. So the Warriors are certainly capable of doing the same.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the Warriors should be happy right now, only down 10 after the first 15 minutes.
Running game definitely emerged last week. We talked about it in the open. Coming into last week's game, Mount Sac had allowed 301 rushing yards total over their first 6 games, and then RCC lit them up for 342, most of those coming from Bryce Strong, who had a really big week last week.
Yeah, Bryce Strong, so far today, just five carries. He has 31 yards. That's 6 yards per carry, so not a bad start here for Bryce Strong. Jake Retzlaff with 21 yards, and Ugorji with 3 carries for 6.
Yeah, Retzlaff throwing his 22nd touchdown already after into week 8 this week. Didn't have any touchdowns last week. And becomes more and more confident each week. So I guess they changed the spot. They'll mark it to the 19. So a 2nd down for RCC. They need to get inside the 14 for a first down. So first play of the second quarter, Tucker split out on the far side. Reggie Retzlaff is out there too. Nearest to the formation is Rashawn Lacey. Retzlaff to throw. Complete to the near side. That's Jaquez Jones. Couple of yards on the play. Clock keeps moving. 3rd down coming up for RCC.
Boy, if you watch that offensive line, they are definitely aware of Lando. Lando is all over the place. They're putting 2, sometimes 3 guys on him.
Well, yeah, they got Wyatt McClure out there. The big tight end is kind of wallpapered to the side where Lando Brown is. But let's see how they respond. I think El Camino could move him around. So trips to the top of the formation. Jones is the setback for RCC. McClure, he's there to chip Brown just to kind of be aware of him. Third down play. Here's the play action. To the end zone, wide open. Touchdown RCC. Making the catch, Jawan Tucker. His second touchdown reception on the afternoon, and it's 16-0 Tigers.
Jawan Tucker, 2 receptions, 58 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Marroquin on to try the PAT. Then Jacob pumps it through. When we have a moment, I want to acknowledge we have a very special guest up in the booth. He is the former editor of Viewpoints, the newspaper at RCC, and currently, get this, the sports editor at the Riverside Press Enterprise, the great James Williams.
Isn't that's cool?
Joins us in the booth.
It's great to see the local guys getting the great gigs. And
where'd you go to high school, James? I went to Downey High. Oh, Downey High. So he's an LA guy, came to RCC, but you know he's done a lot of coverage of high school football in the Inland Empire back in the day, and now he's almost everywhere. I was joking with you because you told me, "Hey, there's James Williams," and I said, "No, that can't be. He's going to be at the Rose Bowl tonight." But no, indeed, James Williams coming out to check out RCC.
It's a bigger game.
His alma mater, of course, his alma mater.
How cool is it, though? Viewpoint's one of the, I say, the premier student newspaper probably in the country.
You didn't say that when they criticized you when you were the coach at when you were the basketball coach at RCC.
Oh no, they were wonderful to me.
And the touchback coming up. So the Warriors will start it off. But, yeah, this whole thing for us is great to cover RCC because they have so many local players. But it's also great to see local journalists like James, just kind of really get after it, comes out of RCC and really kind of turned it into something. He's got a podcast now. He's an editor now. So it's a great progression to show that, you could do something. You can come to RCC and anything's possible. From the 25 for the Warriors, it's a 1st and 10. New quarterback in. Here's the completion to Yetz on the outside, and he gets knocked out of bounds. Moore combines with Tate on the hit. The new quarterback in for El Camino. And I mentioned they're kind of playing quarterback by committee. Jellian Carter. Carter, the freshman out of Westchester High School, although he was born in Riverside.
What? He's playing over there. He went to Westchester. Eddie was Azam was the longtime basketball coach there.
Here's the option. Carter dancing to the outside, and down he goes. Bryce Tate helping out. Isaac Garcia over there making the tackle. But you know who'll be happy is our friend Alan Zinsmeister, who himself is a Westchester Comet.
He is.
He was, yeah. So 3rd down coming up.
Well, he's the most famous of them all.
I think a couple of guys played the NBA, though. I love Alan, but long throw down the field and a nice catch. Ball reeled in Ramona territory, in RCC territory, about the 42-yard line. Making the catch for El Camino was Bray Weems, the freshman from Lawrenceville, Georgia. So the free play cashed in. They'll move it up to the 44-yard line. 27-yard completion for El Camino. So Carter pays immediate dividends. You see why they like him. Dancing to the outside is Bradford, and Tupou helps take him down. Also in on the hit, last week's hero for RCC, Kenton Allen. Allen, remember, had the interception to seal the win against Mount Sac. Just about a yard on the play for Bradford. 2nd down coming up. Second quarter, 17-0 RCC. Pretty much in control here, but Jellian Carter moving him up. Throw over the middle. Nice catch. Good hit by Keith and Gordon, but Bray Weems hangs on to it.
That was a great catch by Weems.
Weems had 4 catches last week against Cerritos, 48 yards. Spent last year at Fullerton College but didn't play. A 2019 graduate of Archer High School in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Also prepped at the Georgia Military Academy. So he's a well-traveled young fella. 3rd and 4. Here comes the pressure. Carter stands in, incomplete. Trying to get the ball into the hands of one of his playmakers. incomplete. Intended receiver Jabari Hughes Jr. on the coverage, DeMarco Moorer, 4th down. And Gifford Lindheim's going to keep his offense out there. Looking back to the sideline is Carter, who's kind of infused some energy into this offense, Jeff. 4th down, Santana shifts in the backfield. Line to get is the 33. They'll throw to the outside. It's complete, and they'll have the 1st down and more. Breaks a tackle, and inside the 10, the ball comes loose, and the Tigers are going to get it. Oh, what a play. Brendan Hodge makes the catch and the run and then coughs it up. Talk about mistakes.
Wow.
Bryce Tate recovers the ball for RCC at the 6-yard line. So how about that? A 33-yard catch for Brendan Hodge, and then the Tigers strip it away. How about this defense tonight, Jeff?
I mean, watch. They have 4, 5 guys on him, and they just put the arms in and strip it right out of his hands after a great catch and run.
So Brendan Hodge spent some time at James Williams' alma mater. He played for Downey before transferring to Pius X. And he's also transferred from Cerritos College to El Camino, but none of that matters as he gives it up on that play. Tiger football from the 6-yard line. 11:51 to play, 2nd quarter. Another turnover by El Camino, their 2nd on the afternoon. Double tight end set. Strong ducks inside and runs right into the awaiting arms of the middle linebacker, Koa Carroll. Carroll had 7 tackles last year in the game against RCC. Kind of a mainstay in the middle of that defense for El Camino. Warriors, a long-time storied program there in the South Bay, located in Torrance, right off of Crenshaw Boulevard. 2nd down. Strong, and it's Carroll yet again.
So El Camino making some adjustments here on this run game. RCC now is going to have to throw here on a 3rd and long.
So the turnover by El Camino and the Warrior defense looking to play around it. Defensive coordinator Andrew Alvalar shouting out instruction to his charges. Clock continues to move. It's 3rd and 10 for RCC. Ball on the 6-yard line. A long way from Pater, 94 yards to be exact. Strong moves out of the backfield, 3-man front. Retzlaff right up the middle, runs kind of into his own lineman and finally goes down. Making the tackle on the play, Jacob Kalolo, the freshman out of Lawndale. And 4th down, punt team on for RCC.
Punt team on for the first time today.
2nd time.
2nd time?
Second look at Jared Campbell. Did not have a good kick. His first time was, I think, 28 yards.
Maybe that's why I don't remember.
They're going to need for him to boom. And that's something that Tom Kraft talked about when I spoke with him a couple of weeks ago. He said, hey, we need more consistency. We like Campbell, strong leg, good kid, but we need more consistency from him. Campbell puts his foot into it. And fielded at midfield, dancing around, making the return is Joshua Lorick, and he's got some room, and Lorick to the open field, and finally will be dropped. Touchdown saving tackle as he gets the ball all the way back into RCC territory. Jordan Williams, I believe, was the one that tripped him up. So they coughed the ball up at the 6. The return by Lorick takes it to the 13. So the Warriors in the red zone.
In the red zone, I'll tell you what, a lot of missed tackles right there by RCC. Defense coordinator not going to be happy watching this play on special teams.
They're tied for 14th in terms of red zone TDs in the state. Here's Carter with a nice little move, but fooled the defender for 1 second. But nice job by Kyle Jordan. Stayed with it, stayed on the quarterback, and limited him to about a 2-yard pickup. So 17-0 as we near 9 minutes to play here in the first half. Jelion Carter enters the game and breathes some energy into his team. A jump ball. Moore nearly had another one. I nearly owed you a Sunday.
Holy smokes, that was one of the easiest ones all year from Moore.
Moore on Lorick there in the corner of the end zone. The jump ball knocked out of bounds by DeMarco, and third down coming up.
Oh, man, I was looking forward to my Sunday. I could have had it here in the second quarter.
Keep in mind that El Camino among the top teams in the nation with regard to fourth down conversions. They're 6th overall with 12 fourth down conversions, 7th in the state with regard to conversion percentage. So third down, the play clock down to 2. Jump ball in the end zone, one-on-one. Nice catch. Was he in the end zone? He was. Touchdown. The only question was, could he stay in bounds? And he did. The touchdown reeled in. Was that Graham? I didn't know it was the other quarterback, Graham, in the
yes,
who went up and got it. Is that an 8 or a 9? I think it was a 9. It's not 9. So that's Kyron Ross, the freshman from Dorsey. He gets the touchdown, 17-6. And the PAT attempt coming up for El Camino. And it's 17-7. So the punt return by Lorick sets up the touchdown by Kyron Ross. And on the board are the Warriors of El Camino.
Perfect strike right there to the corner of the end zone. Let's see if both feet are in, and perfect catch. And that beautiful powder blue.
So an 11-yard touchdown reception by Ross from Carter, 17-7. El Camino can breathe a little easy. The Ziggy's off the board, and they'll have to kick the ball away to RCC. So if you're RCC, just go back to work on the offensive side. So nice to see if you're El Camino, you're happy because that field position you got, despite the fumble, still got you a touchdown. And that's all that it counts. You lost a little bit of time, but still fairly early in this one. Here's the return. This is Jordan Williams bringing it back. Williams nearly had it taken away, and he absorbs a big hit at about the 20-yard line.
Williams just got introduced to Payne.
Yeah, making the big pop is Ace Falenofoa for El Camino. Makes the hit on Williams, and the ball out to the 22-yard line, 1st and 10 RCC as the offense goes back to work. Thanks for joining us on Saturday afternoon. Ghazal Hassan with you, along with Jeff Gorham. Nick Rice down along the sidelines. We have the great James Williams up in the booth right now.
It's a cavalcade of stars.
It is. We are dancing with the stars tonight, Jeff, or this afternoon. 1st and 10 line is the 22. Looking to the near side, he'll throw to Wyatt McClure. McClure will thunder up to the 30, still dragging tacklers with him, and they'll rule him out of bounds. They'll rule him down, at the 35-yard line, so a 13-yard pickup and a first down. Sticks move up. McClure, Tom Kraft, very effusive in his praise about him. He said he can do a lot of different things for us, very versatile. Retzlaff down the field for Reggie Retzlaff. And just like DoorDash, he's going to go to the house. Reggie Retzlaff with a 65-yard touchdown pass from his brother Jake. And the Tigers lead 23-7.
And you watched that play. Retzlaff had his choice to throw to either receiver. Both would have scored. But the brother was ahead, so you throw it to your brother for the score. Big-time play from Retzlaff to Retzlaff.
Beats all you never saw, Jeff. Been in trouble with the law since the day they've been born. 65 yards for the touchdown. I don't mean that literally, folks. If you're a Waylon Jennings fan, you can go look that up. Marroquin on to try the PAT, and he pumps it through. 24-7 in favor of RCC. How about that for an answer? 36 seconds after the El Camino touchdown, Retzlaff to Retzlaff for 65 yards. So, second touchdown pass, or third touchdown pass already for Reggie Retzlaff, or for Jake Retzlaff. 2 to Jawan Tucker, 1 to his brother.
Retzlaff thrown for over 200 yards here and still 8 minutes to go. He's on pace to break his own record, maybe.
I mean, you look at the numbers from last week, and it was pretty impressive. They put up 558 yards against Mount Sac. Keep in mind, Mount Sac, the number one defense in the country. That's 53% of the yardage that Mount Sac has allowed all season.
All year. Yeah. And Jake had a 71-yard run last week?
70 yards, yeah. We know about the offense here for RCC. The defense, though, has been very solid today as well, Jeff, despite giving up that touchdown. Ball goes out of the end zone and a touchback, and El Camino will tee it up from the 25. First half today, total yards for RCC, 185 passing yards and 58 rushing yards. Jabari Hughes up to the 30-yard line, about a 5-yard pickup on the play for El Camino. Hughes, a sophomore from Warren High School in Downey. He's from Inglewood. Actually signed with D2 Southwest Minnesota out of high school. And that could be close to a first down. That's Stephen Bradford for El Camino up to the 35. They'll move the sticks. He will get the first.
The fourth first down for El Camino in this ball game.
Bradford again breaks the first tackle, and then Do down about the 37-yard line. Making the tackle for RCC. It says number 90, which we don't have on the roster right now. That was Rayshawn Gilmore's number. Carter throwing over the middle. Intercepted. Making the pick, Lovewin Don Willies, and the turnover for El Camino.
You get a pick, you get a pick, everybody gets a pick.
Third turnover of the game for El Camino. 2 interceptions and the fumble. They actually played around the fumble, but this is very good field position as the Tigers will start on the El Camino side of the field. And Nick Rice made the point earlier about mistakes, and right now the mistakes have been on the El Camino side. They're already trailing by 17. This could be a big one for RCC if they can put this one in the end zone. Let's see if they go right up top. 2 by 2. Strong in the backfield. Here comes Lando Brown. They'll fling it to the outside. Complete to Norbert Espadron. He'll get all the way up to the 32-yard line. 16-yard pickup on the play.
Looks like Riverside wanted a penalty, it looked like, on that. I thought maybe it was helmet to helmet here. Let's see on the replay. Let's see if they have. Oh, maybe. Might have had some right to gripe over there.
So they've moved Lando Brown to the opposite side. He was against LaFrance. Now he's matched up against Kyle Scott. Here comes the pressure. They'll throw the ball down the field, just getting rid of it. The pressure on that time, though, from El Camino coming from Koa Carroll. And at this point, they're just going to pin their ears back and go after Jake Retzlaff.
You have to. I mean, make them beat you on the ground, because Retzlaff has already thrown over 200 yards here. We're just past halfway point of the second quarter.
That's the other thing. Like, if you're aware, if you make the offense be aware of Lando Brown, it allows other players to make plays up front.
Brown all over that secondary, though.
2nd and 10. They go for the outlet to Bryce Strong. Breaks the first tackle at the 30, and he'll be flung down at about the 26-yard line. Lando Brown finally cleaned it up. The first man in on it, though, was Keith Morgan, the freshman out at Crenshaw. Very close to a first down. I don't know if they quite got it, but the Tigers will have a 3rd and short. So Tucker to the near side. In the near slot, Espadron. Looks like Jacques Jones is the setback. Third down. Flag comes in. Ball complete to Norbert Espadron. He's got the first down to the 16-yard line, but will it stay?
I think we have a hold here on defense. Offsides, huh?
So he'll move the ball all the way down to the 15-yard line, 11-yard pickup and a first down. And Retzlaff just picking him apart like you're talking about. And he's responded well to the pressure applied by El Camino. So clock moving once they reset the chains. Closing in on 5 minutes to play in the second quarter. Here's the throw to the outside, incomplete. Intended receiver was Jordan Williams. On the coverage for El Camino, Keith Morgan, 2nd and 10.
If you watch Retzlaff, he seems a lot more comfortable in the pocket this week. Tell you what, though, you have Lando coming at you. I would not be too thrilled at all. Like I said, put your head on a swivel, make sure he's around. But he does look a little bit more poised in the pocket.
I think the instruction was to get rid of the ball, obviously.
Yes.
So last week I think he sat trying to make some reads, and Mount Sac did a nice job disguising some of their reads. Here comes the pressure. Throw to the outside, complete to Williams, incomplete. Knocked away from him, another deflection. Ball was right in Jordan Williams' hands, and coming in from behind, Keith Morgan knocked it away.
And that's what Coach Kraft had, said he was upset with. Is the receivers have to be able to catch the football. Another drop pass on a very, very makeable catch.
Well, again, and a play like that, when it's tipped, all of a sudden, it's anybody's ball, right? If Gordon sees it a little quicker or somebody else comes over, it's a pick off the deflection. So Juwan Tucker to the bottom of the screen for RCC. Jace Farrar also in the middle of that formation. Retzlaff taking it himself. Dives inside the 5. I think he's going to have the first down. Retzlaff with the keeper, and that's a good aspect to his game. They're going to mark it to the 4-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal from the 4 for RCC. Just that added dimension, Jeff, that Retzlaff can pick him up and put him down, can run with the football, even in a tight window here inside the 15-yard line.
Yeah, I mean, he is really, really a very mobile quarterback. Deceptively quick. I mean, he's led the team in rushing at half last game, and now today he's got over 30 yards rushing on 3 carries.
Retzlaff near slot, Juwan Tucker to the near side. Jones is the setback. Here's the throw, and that's Reggie Retzlaff who reels it in for the touchdown. Shooting fish in a barrel, a 4-yard touchdown pass from Jake Retzlaff to Reggie Retzlaff. Their second hookup on the afternoon. 4th touchdown pass for Jake Retzlaff here on this game.
Yeah, not a bad start for the Retzlaff brothers. Do they have when they go home, I wonder if they have the Retzlaff of the week.
How far does this extend? Like when they eat breakfast at home, do they throw each other Pop-Tarts and stuff? Does Reggie stand above the toaster and wait?
Wait, catches it.
Marroquin puts it through the uprights.
I see. I still picture him sharing a bedroom with bunk beds like my boys at home. You've seen, and when they're putting in their laundry, they're throwing it to each other and putting it right in.
You had a brother. I have a brother. I remember leaving stuff on if I got up for breakfast for my brother, I might leave some waffles on the plate so he could put them in the toaster. Yes. I never was able to throw them to him like these guys do.
Throwing eggs to each other. Mom is over there catching things, and Dad's yelling at everyone. Make a better throw, Ma.
Ma, the meatloaf.
Meatloaf, Ma.
Utendahl back with Marquise Yetz to return the kicks from El Camino. And Jacob Marroquin will tee it up.
I picture a couple sisters over there, too, kicking balls around. And
31-7, RCC looks to be pretty much in control here in the first half. And another touchback. How good is Marroquin?
I had a favorite the last couple of years, and he just went by Chavez.
Well, but I understand that. And as good as Ricardo Chavez, he was fantastic. We don't talk about them missing him all that much, as good as he was, because Jacob's been so good this year. He's made all 4 PATs and the 1 field goal he attempted today. And I think one of his kicks has been returned. That's about it.
And I like the way he wears his socks. Looks like he's going to church. So I wear my socks like Marquine.
Delayed handoff, trying to run up inside and stopped at the initial point of attack. That was Santana. Getting up from the bottom of the pile, Gage Summers. Nice to call his name again. 2nd and 10.
Like I said, kickers are my favorite people. I'm the only person in the world that can say that. Kickers are my favorite people.
They gave him a yard, so 2nd and 9. Carter going through his progressions. Now he's going to go down. Getting in there and making the sack. That's the big fella for RCC, Tasi Laufo, the sophomore from Rancho Cucamonga. 2.5 sacks now on the year. And the Tigers will call timeout here after the sack. 3:43 to play before the end of the first half.
He did a whole dance after that sack. It was a good dance.
Still doing it.
He is dancing all over the place.
Big number 99, 6'4", 295, and he's pretty quick.
Well, he had great dance moves. A lot of rhythm.
Speaking of rhythm, El Camino has been a hotbed for musical talent. You
No.
know that, right? Yeah. So there's a young man who was going to play football at El Camino, and he broke his leg and couldn't play football. So he got into his parents' garage, started playing the piano, and he and his 2 brothers and a couple of neighbors started a band.
Jonas. No.
His name was Brian Wilson.
No.
And the band was the Beach Boys.
And they were El Camino guys?
He was a Hawthorne High School guy, played football at Hawthorne High, and broke his leg. He was going to play football at El Camino, broke his leg. And the other famous musician, or musical-related guy out of El Camino, he had a record label about 25 years ago called Death Row. The great Marion Suge Knight played at El Camino, then later at UNLV, and became a 1990s hip-hop mogul.
He had to be a defensive end or
Yeah, he was a defensive end, yeah. Carter launches it down the field. He's got a man wide open. Catching it in stride at the 40-yard line and going to the end zone. They'll be tackled at the 5-yard line. DeMarco Moorer brings him down. Joshua Lorick reels it in. Lorick, the freshman, he played at Mater Dei but ended up at Adelanto.
What?
And J-Lo flips the field. A 71-yard completion. 1st and goal. Here's the give to Santana. And Santana goes down. Robert Walters gets there for RCC.
How do you go from Mater Dei to Adelanto?
Good question. He played on the Mater Dei 2018 CIF title team as a sophomore and graduated in 2021 from Adelanto High School. Maybe the family moved.
Isn't that way out there? That's way out there, isn't it?
It's like high desert, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Carter to the end zone. Intercepted.
Who is it?
Quinn Sullivan with the pick. I was looking for the 2 as well, Jeff. I thought it might have been DeMarco Moore. I didn't want to say anything. But Quinn Sullivan, the sophomore out of Bellevue, Washington, goes up and makes a nice play, athletic play, and picks it off.
I'm telling you, it's like a giveaway on an Oprah show.
4th turnover and 3rd interception for RCC, and the defense is swarming. Reminds me of that. Remember that old NFL Films clip of Lawrence Taylor yelling to his team, "Let's go out there like a bunch of crazed dogs and have some fun"? Well, they're not crazed. They're kind of calculated dogs, but they're definitely having some fun forcing 4 turnovers here in the first half. That's kind of El Camino's thing. They force takeaways. 1st and 10 from the 20. RCC already comfortably in front, but you never have enough points. Here's the swing out of the backfield for Bryce Strong. Puts his head down. He's got a first down.
What was the quote that Coach Kraft told you when they had a bad second half? Wasn't it a couple weeks ago? Didn't he say we were out? They played great in the first half and they gave up.
Oh well, no, it was a game they won 38-3.
I know.
So I'm thinking he's going to be optimistic. I said, Coach, you got to be happy with that. He's like, well, first half, yeah, second half, no. We only won 7-3.
Oh,
that just shows you. That's why he's so good at what he does.
Coach Kraft.
11 yards. Swing out of the backfield. Again, this is strong. Strong dancing. Nice little stiff arm there. Brought down at the 35-yard line. Jonathan Johnson brings him down. When you're prepping for a game, you want to throw a softball, right?
Yes.
So I thought that was the softball. I said, all right, Coach, thanks for your time. Hey, 38-3 win. Got to be happy with that. And then, of course, Coach Kraft, first half we played well. But he was upset about the fact they only won 7-3 in the second half. So the flag comes in, and the play's going to come back for RCC, and we'll do it all over again. But the other thing that Coach said is that, he still enjoys it. He still has energy, still enjoys being out on the sideline, still enjoys helping these guys prepare. So he's got a birthday coming up, and he told me which one it was. I won't reveal on the air. Most of you guys all know anyway. But he said he wants to be here at RCC for as long as he can be. From the 26. Dancing. Retzlaff launching. And that's complete down the field out for Jordan. And Jordan tackled inside the 30-yard line. So Jordan tackled on the play by Jared Douglas. They flipped the field.
And Lando got right to Retzlaff right as he let go of that football.
44-yard completion and 1st and 10 from the 30 for RCC. And Retzlaff just lighting it up today, Jeff. What do we got him for unofficially?
I got officially. Let's go to it. I'm going to go straight to the stat line.
The great Mike Martinez on the stats today. Looking for Tucker. Tucker one-on-one, incomplete.
He has 914 yards in the first half.
Dekez Walker, the sophomore from Middletown, Delaware, on the coverage.
Actually, he's at, let's see here. He has 314 yards passing.
In the first half.
Wow. Not a bad half.
So 78 ticks to go. And already 4 touchdowns, right? So he needs one more for 5.
He could do better.
Trips to the top of the formation for RCC. They lead 31-7. Here's the play action over the middle. Complete. Touchdown, Rashawn Lacey. 30-yard touchdown, no laundry on the field. That is the 5th touchdown pass of the first half for Jake Retzlaff.
You got to go in at halftime and say, hey, Jake, do better.
And then from one Jake to the other, Jacob Marroquin now to try the PAT.
See, look at Marroquin's socks. I'm going to wear my socks like that everywhere I go from now on. I go to Disneyland, I'm wearing black socks, mid-calf.
Mid-calf black sock could be a new fashion trend, Jeffrey. Snap back, hold down, kick up, and good, 38-7.
But I like to wear penny loafers with shorts.
You do? Is that how you mow the lawn? Do we have Nick Rice? We'll send it down to Nick Rice. Or will we not? We won't. Okay.
Not yet. He's gathering information.
38-7, and I guess no letdown, huh, Jeff? You're worried about a letdown, an emotional win last week over Mount Sac, and then you're playing Cerritos on the road next week. And
yeah, I was worried about that snake bite. That snake bite game that everybody has.
Well, especially because, El Camino, they've been battle-tested, right? They've played Cerritos and Mount Sac the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So the results haven't been good. But you figure, okay, they've played tough competitions. They'll be up for it. And RCC, I guess, up for it as well. They went over the film, and they were disappointed in some things they saw last week despite the win. So they've been on top of their game. Marroquin pumps it away over his head for the touchback. And El Camino will put it back out there. But getting back to that Suge Knight story, so a friend of ours who's worked some games with us here at Riverside TV, David Gascon, played at El Camino. And he told me about 20 years ago, he said when he played on the team, Suge Knight came and addressed the team and told them all about staying in school and working hard and all that stuff.
It was pretty good. I guessed he was a defensive end. You couldn't put Suge Knight on the offensive line. He would have lost all street cred.
Here's the throw over the middle. It's complete to about the 30-yard line. 5-yard pickup on the play. Making the catch is Brendan Hodge. So Hodge, they'll give him it up. They'll give him 7. They'll give it up to the 32. Hurry up offense for El Camino. Graham back in at quarterback, looking to get the ball back to Hodge, incomplete. 3rd down, 3rd and 4 coming up.
Maybe that's where he learned to hold guys by their ankles.
You heard that story too, huh?
Was it
Ice-T, right? Vanilla Ice. Vanilla Ice.
Rip Van Winkle? Wasn't his name something Van Winkle?
Robert Van Winkle. Graham swings it to Yetz outside, and who says hello but you, Peterson Lewis. And Tom Kraft will call timeout with 37 8/10 of a second left here in the first half.
Wants another pick.
He's playing it like a playoff game. Clock management's so important, and we've seen so many teams have some trouble with clock management, Jeff.
We've seen many teams.
So, Tom Kraft and his staff, they want to make sure that game is on point. It doesn't matter if you're up 31 or if you're down 3. You want to make sure you're doing the right things all the time. So we'll get another look at Adam Saul, the freshman punter. He was a redshirt last year at Illinois State.
And today's game will end our regular season of football.
Regular season coverage, absolutely, because the next 2 games on the road.
I think we did 914 games this football season.
It was fun, Jeff. I had fun up here.
Great year. We got more to play, though.
Yeah, the streak extends for me. I don't think I've called an RCC loss yet, ever since I started with RCC a couple of years ago. Saul booms it, and Williams will retrieve it at the 24-yard line. Williams dancing over the 30 to the 34, go down over the 35-yard line. So about a 12-yard pickup for him on the return. 49-yard kick, 12-yard return. First down for RCC at the 37-yard line.
I have DoorDash ready in case my guy gets an interception.
Meaning Marco Moore?
Yeah, so just know that if he gets one, we're going to have it delivered up here in the booth.
Now, which Sunday do you like? You like the Denny's Sunday, the Johnny Rocket Sunday? Is there a particular Sunday you enjoy?
I like the weirdest Sunday ever. I like the Dairy Queen Marshmallow Sunday.
From the 36, 1st and 10. Sidearm delivery. Here's Strong. Strong dancing up to the 40-45. And the ball squirts loose, but picked up by an RCC player. So tackle on the play made by Terrell Bishop for El Camino. Play clock ticking down. And that'll be the end of the first half. So 38-7. RCC very much in control of the first half. And I think the 2 words we can talk about are Retzlaff and Retzlaff. Jake and Reggie were big in the first half for RCC.
Yeah, Jake Retzlaff, he had 36 yards rushing, but only 328 yards passing and 4 touchdowns.
Let's throw it down to Nick Rice. He has got El Camino head coach Gifford Lindheim before the Warriors go in at the half.
All right, RCC 38-7. What are your thoughts of the first half?
It's pretty one-sided. They're really good. They're the best team in the state, and they've been that way for a while. So, yeah, they dominated us.
Your defense did capitalize on a couple of Tiger mistakes. Do you feel like there's some things you can take away from this?
When you're up against the best team in the state, you got to learn. So we're getting a firsthand look at what we need to be in our program if we want to get there.
Coach, thank you so much. Best of luck in the second half.
Thanks.
All right, guys, back to you.
Thanks, Coach Lindheim and Nick Rice here. And it's got to be a tough. I give credit. Now, I know Coach Lindheim going way back when he was the head coach at SMC, and he's a good guy. And he's generally a pretty affable guy, and comes across well with his personality. That's got to be a tough interview to do because he's used to being successful, and his team's on the wrong side of a 38-7 score.
Yeah, I mean, but hey, give him credit. He goes and says, "Hey, this is what our program needs, where it needs to be." And we got to see what we can do here in the second half.
Yeah, RCC pretty dominant in the first half, 38-7. no signs at all of any kind of a letdown after last week's win against Mount Sac, going into next week's game against Cerritos. And that's one thing Tom Kraft and his staff are very good at. Hey, let's address the matter at hand. We got El Camino today, so our number one priority needs to be El Camino.
And you could tell they seem very focused, especially after last week's, a tough victory, but they've come out more focused, even more so today, and they look better than they did last week.
All right, he's Jeff. Nick, you heard from Nick Rice down on the sideline. My name's Ghazal Hassan. We'll send it back to our Riverside TV studios for halftime festivities, and we'll come back with the second half for you here from Ramona High School as RCC leads El Camino 38-7 on Riverside TV.
California leads the nation in railroad trespass-related fatalities. In 2021, there were 243 trespass casualties in California. Trespassing is one of the most challenging safety issues plaguing California's railroad corridors. In Riverside County alone, there were 19 trespass-related casualties last year. But the positive news is those numbers have dropped over the years because of the efforts of California Operation Lifesaver and partnering agencies like RCTC and Metrolink. We can all help reduce trespass-related incidents even further if we never trespass on railroad property for any reason. That means no biking or walking near tracks. Railroad property is private property. The only safe place to cross train tracks is at a designated crossing. September is Rail Safety Month, so please do your part. And whenever you see tracks, always think train. And stay off, stay away, stay safe. California leads the nation in railroad trespass-related fatalities. In 2021, there were 243 trespass casualties in California. Trespassing is one of the most challenging safety issues plaguing California's railroad corridors. In Riverside County alone, there were 19 trespass-related casualties last year. But the positive news is those numbers have dropped over the years because of the efforts of California Operation Lifesaver and partnering agencies like RCTC and Metrolink. We can all help reduce trespass-related incidents even further if we never trespass on railroad property for any reason. That means no biking or walking near tracks. Railroad property is private property. The only safe place to cross train tracks is at a designated crossing. September is Rail Safety Month, so please do your part. And whenever you see tracks, always think train. And stay off, stay away, stay safe.
Live local. Help support your favorite businesses with the Shop Riverside Community Card. With over 200 Riverside businesses giving exclusive discounts and offers to community card holders, there's something for everyone. Participating organizations sell these cards for only $15 each, with $10 going straight back to the organization itself, making the Shop Riverside Community Card a fantastic way to support your favorite local group. For more information about the Shop Riverside Community Card and to find participating businesses, please visit shopriversidenow.com. And don't forget to live local. Shop Riverside.
High school sports are one of the things that make living in California so great.
But sometimes the behavior in the stands can overshadow our achievements on the field.
I love it when my parents show up for me.
But being booed for missing a play could be crushing.
And remember that refs are people too.
They're trying their best to call a fair and correct game.
Hey, and enough with all the swearing.
No one should feel insulted or ashamed because of their race, ethnicity, or gender.
We should be able to hold our heads high after the match, win or lose.
I'm Cheech Marin, and we're inviting you to reserve your spot for the inaugural showing of Cheech Collects. So get your tickets today. We're looking for you.
Well, it all started basically with my son, Joshua Unger. He's severely autistic. He was aging out of the school district, and this was about when he was around 18, but the school district keeps you till you're 22. We're sitting at home one day and we're talking about, well, what are we going to do once he actually is out of the school district? And we thought about it really hard, and At that time, we were doing some backyard gardening, and my son was very responsive to it. He enjoyed going out and planting the seeds and being in the soil, and harvesting the lettuce and going and getting the carrots and the onions, and he likes to cook too. And we thought, well, hey, what if we actually had some property to where we could have like a small farm that sells vegetables, and we can make a program where we can bring in others, a work program for people with these different disabilities. Ultimately, what we decided to do was just start looking in the Inland Empire area for a piece of property that would work for that. And, we found the Greenbelt. We try to implement as much organic material in the soil as possible. We're not using any pesticides or herbicides. We, have barn owl boxes. We have little birds' nests that we're planting so that they'll eat some of the bugs, and we also encourage predator bugs, like ladybugs. Our operation is at that point where we're turning a corner. With the high tunnels going up, we're going to be planting tomatoes in there. There's a lot of little things to maintain with tomatoes. We're kind of transitioning from a point where we were just focused on this small little corner of the property, kind of educating me. And then now that we have some systems in place that I feel are successful, we're going to expand that across the center part of the farm here, and we're going to be putting in a little farm stand that we can sell some of these vegetables with, and that will provide additional tasks for the workers with disabilities to fulfill. One of the ways that we reach out to people is on Facebook, and it's Gable Farms. Just Gable Farms, and you can search it in Riverside, and that's an easy way to find us.
My daughter had an issue at school where another student on her campus, specifically in her class, said some derogatory things about people of color, specifically black people. Although Riverside is a great place to live, it has shadows and it has corners where hate lives. As a result of that, my daughter was hurt that day, and we needed to put a voice to it. A friend of mine, she reached out to me and she said, Rochelle, I can't sit by and know that this happened to Edison and not do something.
We had a conversation about the racism that her daughter Edison had experienced at her school and how that felt to her. We felt like we needed to do something and to say something. And so we talked about the representation of black figures in Riverside and how there was a lack of representation. We talked about inclusion and respect and what that looked like. And we talked about creating an art piece.
It was after the murals that we had up on the Fox Performing Arts Center, as well as the John Lewis mural at the Civil Rights Institute. And so when this concept came to us at the City of Riverside, it felt a way that we could support our artist community, because we are the City of Arts and Innovation, but it was also in an easy, beautiful way, a statement that we promote, we respect, and we want diversity, equity, and inclusion in all things we do.
I myself am a mosaic artist, and so I talked to Rochelle about the possibility of us creating an art piece, and she loved that idea. And soon Shay Tracy, who is also an educator, so we are three teachers. We started out on this endeavor to create this piece together and enlisted 14 artists to create the piece that you see here today.
As at that time, there was so much happening in the culture, in the world, surrounding Black Lives Matter, and some of the protests in terms of the police brutality that was happening, that I just felt I needed to do something as a mom of two boys. Each individual person, they worked on their own sketch of the artist, and they put the tiles together at their own home studio, and then towards the end we collected the materials in waves, and then we kind of just put it all together a few weeks before the reveal. I want them to feel the love and intentionality that we put into the mural. I wanted to awaken a curiosity about all of the people who we included in the mural, and to just get people to understand and to have more interest in Black history and in these contributing members.
As the City of Arts and Innovation, this was a really beautiful step towards including art pieces that are public and that are representative of everyone.
For the community, I hope that it shows that in being authentic and real and transparent and sharing our stories, great things can come out of it.
Welcome to In the Vault, a program of the Museum of Riverside. Today I'm going to share a little bit about the museum's herbarium, which is a collection of plant specimens, and a herbarium can be either dry or wet specimens, but mostly dry specimens, and that's what we have quite a bit of. It began with the early curator of botanic collections, Edmund Yeager, who started collecting specimens in the Riverside and San Bernardino area in the 1920s. Many of these specimens that he collected eventually wound up in our collection, but the real turning point was in 1949 when Charles and Wilhelmina Clark donated their collection, the Clark Herbarium, along with an endowment for the care of the collection and for botanical programs. And we've pulled out today just a couple of specimens, just a few specimens from the Clark Herbarium that are examples of Nevins barberry, which is an endangered species in our area. And you actually can acquire cultivated specimens of this plant from nurseries, but in the few areas where it grows naturally, it's under threat and has been added to the endangered species list. Now, this is how dried herbarium specimens are stored and collected. A herbarium specimen is of little use to us unless it comes with its collection data. So all this information is here, collected on a certain date in a certain location by a certain collector. And then the specimens are dried under certain conditions so that they don't attract mold, mildew, or other forces that can disintegrate them. Because they're dried, of course, they're very fragile, and we have to keep them in short stacks in carefully controlled environmental conditions. And you might wonder why we would have more than one example of the same species. And there's a reason for that, several reasons actually. First of all, comparing different examples of the same species can give information to researchers. And comparing specimens that have been collected over time can give researchers information about changing environmental conditions. And in the context of much research that's done today, for instance, climate change, we can learn much about how and where specimens were collected and what has happened to their morphology over time. It's also useful to have different specimen examples for genetic research, which is done today. Again, it was something that was, at the time these things were collected, no one even conceived of the kind of genetic research that would be done today. And now we have some of these specimens, which of course, because they're in essence insect food, we have to keep very close watch on them to make sure no infestations get into our storage vault here. These cabinets behind me are the cabinets where we store the herbarium specimens, and they have to be inspected often to make sure that we have no problems. To go back to the Clark Herbarium, that portion of the Museum of Riverside's herbarium comprises about 10,000 specimens. Additional collectors, other collectors, John C. Roos, for instance, actually this one was collected by John C. Roos, have added to the herbarium and make it a reference point with almost a century's trajectory that allows it to be a tremendous resource for researchers who are interested in Southern California, particularly the inland Southern California plant community. We have a new incoming lot of specimens coming into the herbarium soon. We do continue to actively collect, and again, for some of those scientific reasons that might not necessarily have been anticipated at the time that earlier examples of some of the species were collected. So for instance, a researcher has recently gone out to some of the areas in Central and Southern California that are fire damaged and collecting plant specimens that are coming back after those fires so that we can study the kind of plant communities that thrive in those post-fire environments. Again, we cannot possibly imagine what kind of research may be done in the future that would make these specimens of great use to a scientist. And I should add as well, as my background is the fine arts, that there's a resurgence of interest among artists in looking at these kinds of collections and just seeing the visual beauty of them and seeing how the visual impact of a specimen can be translated into an aesthetic experience and to help connect people with nature in a way that is very vital right now. So again, thank you for joining us for this segment of In the Vault, and we do encourage you, particularly if you're a researcher, to contact us and arrange to have access to the herbarium collection. Thank you.
High school sports are one of the things that make living in California so great.
Athletics builds character, teamwork, physical fitness,
And shows what hard work can achieve.
And some of us can even earn a college scholarship or qualify for the Olympics.
But sometimes the behavior in the stands can overshadow our achievements on the field.
I love it when my parents show up for me.
But being booed for missing a play can be crushing.
Parents who lose their minds when we don't score aren't helping.
It can actually be super distracting. We should be able to hold our heads high after the match, win or lose.
And remember that refs are people too.
They're trying their best to call a fair and correct game.
Even if you may not love the call.
Seeing and hearing people, belligerently be mean to you, it makes you not want to play anymore. It makes you just want to go sit on the sidelines and cry. Like, it's not fun.
No one should feel insulted or ashamed because of their race, ethnicity, or gender.
Hey, and enough with all the swearing.
Anger has no place here.
Thank you for being part of the change, and thank you for being there to lift us up.
Welcome to In the Vault, a feature of the Museum of Riverside. Today we're going to be talking about something fun and games actually. The museum has quite a large collection of games dating back to the 19th century. A small selection of them will be featured in a new exhibition at Heritage House to open in early September of 2022. One of the games we're going to include is this one, which we discovered recently in our collection storage vault. We looked up its records, and the records weren't particularly illuminating as to what it was, and none of us recognized what it was. So while we did some research and pondered a bit, we still didn't turn up any information. But we were fortunate to have some good luck in the form of putting out some images and information about this piece to an international network of game collectors and game historians. Luckily, very quickly, we got an answer back from a collector in Germany.
Welcome back, Ramona High School. Ghazal Hassan back with you, along with Jeff Gorham. Nick Rice down along the sideline. 38-7 in the first half. RCC on top of El Camino, and we always like to joke the battle station fully operational. How about this number? The El Camino Warrior defense, they allow 337 yards per game on the year and about 22 points. 38 points, you know that. Total yards in the first half for RCC, Jeff, 487. So, think about that. It's already almost 50% more yards than El Camino is used to giving up per game on the season. You heard the interview at halftime with Gifford Lindheim, who looked a little bit shell-shocked. RCC's performance has been fantastic.
Well, let's just go through some of these video game-like numbers, and I hate saying that, but it's true. Jake Retzlaff goes for 20 of 29 in the air for 414 yards and 5 touchdowns.
5 first-half touchdowns. I think his record at RCC is 6.
Yes.
So
he's on pace, hopefully, to break that. But look and rushing, Jake Retzlaff as well. He has 36 yards rushing, but Bryce Strong was pretty darn good in that first half. Really opened things up for that passing game.
Now, so here's the catch-22. Okay, you're well in front, and obviously this game's not over. There's plenty of time to play. But the way RCC's been playing, they've been pretty dominant. If you're Tom Kraft, I'm guessing the starters will play through the third quarter, right?
You have to almost play them through the third quarter.
Because you're playing the Cerritos next week.
Yeah, you're playing the Cerritos, and you have to be in game shape to play against the very good teams. And you just play them. You got to play your guys.
If you're Coach Giff for El Camino, what are you telling your team right now?
Hey, we got to stay in this. We lost that first half. Let's try to get out of here with a semblance of a victory. Let's win the second half or win a quarter. Whatever you can do to get these guys to keep playing hard.
Marroquin with his foot into it. Uttendahl back to field it, and he'll just take a knee. So touchback for El Camino. Surprise, surprise. Ball will come out to the 25-yard line. That's where El Camino will start it. Back at quarterback for El Camino is Corey Graham, and he split some time with Jelian Carter in the first half. 1st and 10, he's looking to throw, and the ball is complete to the 35, and down he goes. Reception on the play made by Brendan Hodge. Tackle on the play for RCC made by Miles Martin. Martin, the sophomore from Vista Murrieta. So we may see some different numbers, particularly on defense, for the Tigers. They marked to the 37, so a 1st and 10. Here's the give to Yetz. He gets up over the 40 to about the 41. Marquise Yetz, the freshman from Inglewood by way of Mater Dei. Came in averaging about 5.5 yards a carry. Second down, Evans trying to draw some movement on the offensive line. Loring split out to the near side. Top of your screen is Bray Weems for El Camino. Graham throwing. Over the middle, nearly picked off. Loring, the intended receiver, nearly intercepted on the deflection by DeMarco Moore.
Almost. I was licking my chops.
I see you got the phone out ready to dial up DoorDash for that Sunday.
I know there's a DQ just down the street. I love me a marshmallow sundae.
So 3rd and 6. Line is the 41. So Yetz in the backfield along with Stephen Bradford for El Camino. Here's the pressure. Thrown to the outside. Intended receiver is Hodge. Robert Waters, on the coverage. 4th down coming up. So here comes the punt team out again. Mark Warreneck. Warreneck last year, he's a sophomore out of Alameda, St. John Bosco High. He had 1 pass completion last season for 35 yards. It came on a fake punt against RCC. That was a wild and woolly game out in Torrance last year. RCC ended up winning 34-27. Here's the punt. Fair catch signaled for and caught at the 22-yard line. 37-yard kick, Jordan Williams, fair catch at the 23. And a 1st down for RCC, well in control. And the defense comes out and gets a 3 and out. Or gives up a 1st down and then stops El Camino.
I'll tell you what, if you are Riverside, you got to just keep pressing right now. You've got to get ready for this playoff football. Only 2.5 games left here.
I mean, they're doing a very good job of making it, 1 game at a time. But Cerritos is the challenge next week. But you give them credit because it would have been very easy to maybe look past El Camino. They certainly did not. Retzlaff slings it. Here's Gitchaway. Little run after catch. And Gitchaway pushed out of bounds when he gets over the 40-yard line, making the tackle Jared Douglas for El Camino.
Gitchaway in that first half had 43 yards receiving. Reggie Retzlaff, 3 receptions for 114 yards.
21-yard reception up to the 43, 1st and 10. Trips to the far side. Retzlaff to Strong. Strong over the 45, run out of bounds there by a combination of Douglas and Koa Carroll. Give him about 5. So call it the 47, 2nd and 6 for RCC. Retzlaff throwing. In and out of the hands of Norian Espadron. 3rd down coming up.
And those are mistakes you can't make against, we've said against great teams. You can't have this many drop balls.
So 3rd and 6 from the 47. They need to get to the El Camino 47. So a big stand coming up here for El Camino on defense. Play action. Retzlaff looking. Steps up in the pocket. Little bit high. Intended receiver Jordan Williams. It falls incomplete. Defensive back on the play. Making the play is Fred Martin. So 4th down coming up, and now the Tigers will punt. Just 2 punts in the first half. Off the foot of Jared Campbell. Campbell out of Rochester, New York. Averaging just 33.5 yards a kick on 2 kicks in the first half. And it's blocked. Punt is blocked. The Tigers fall on it, but it'll be good field position at the 39-yard line for El Camino. Rushing in and blocking the punt was Chance Williams, the defensive back out of Nashville, Tennessee, Hillsborough High School. And 1st and 10, El Camino. So the Warriors make a play here early in the second half, Jeff.
These are the kind of plays we were talking about. If you are the Warriors now, you got to try to get these small victories and try to stay in this ball game by maybe, like I said, winning the half or winning the quarter.
Santana runs right into the waiting arms of Alonzo Gray Hall on a couple of yards on 1st down. We mentioned Chance Williams, Nashville, Tennessee, out of Hillsborough High School in Hillsborough, Tennessee. Hillsborough, the setting for the famous play, which later was a movie, Inherit the Wind. You ever read the play or seen the movie?
I've seen the movie.
What a fantastic storytelling, a bit of storytelling that is. Matthew Harrison Brady, who's basically based on William Jennings Bryan.
Yeah.
A player down for El Camino. So 2nd down coming up, and comes to his senses, and that's the running back, Brian Santana, the transfer out of Arizona. Need some help. You always like to see a player go off under his own power, but his teammate's going to come help him.
He's just going to carry him.
Daniel Harris, who's the offensive lineman out of Washington Prep in L.A., 6'8", 315, and helping out his teammate. You like to see that. Kind of keeping that leg elevated, and now Santana says, "Nah, I got this, bro." And he'll walk back to the bench.
He'll always remember being carried off like a baby.
So from the 33, it's a 2nd and 5.
He was like a toddler in his arms.
He's your size. He's Harris 6'8".
It's a large man.
So you guys stare each other eye to eye. Graham back to throw. Here comes pressure. He's going to dance out to the right side. Being chased. Now he'll tuck it under. Leans for the 1st down over the 25-yard line. Coming up, making the tackle, Robert Waters for RCC. But the sticks move up. A nice 8-yard pickup for Graham. Graham coming in, we mentioned, average about 5.5 yards a carry.
And just the 6th first down for El Camino in this ball game. Riverside with 18 first downs.
So move it. couple yards closer after the penalty, back to the 27-yard line. Second and 13, Graham throwing and nearly picked off. Neither receiver adjusted to the hot route. I think that was for pressure. A flag flies in late. So to leave Salahuddin getting into it a little bit.
That's the first time we've said his name today. Salahuddin, my favorite defensive player. But today my favorite, of course, is DeMarco Moore because I want that Sunday.
Offsetting personal fouls makes it 3rd and 13. Shane Smith writing in his book like he's a soccer official after giving a yellow card. So from the 27, it's 3rd and 13 for El Camino. I would guess, Jeff, they're in 4-down territory here, no?
Yes, definitely.
Graham looking up top. Overthrows the intended receiver, incomplete. He was looking for Colby Bell, the sophomore out of Santa Monica High, and 4th down. And here comes the field goal team, so I was wrong. Mark Warreneck. So he'll try a 43-yarder. Warreneck on the year, his longest has been 31. He's just 3 of 7 on field goals. Oh, instead, no, Warreneck is holding. It looks like Saul's going to kick.
They're going to have to call timeout. They only had 1 second on the play clock.
So Adam Saul will attempt the 43-yard field goal. Maybe Warreneck is the kicker unless you're beyond 40. And they bring Saul out for his leg. So 38-7 in favor of RCC, 11:09 to play against El Camino. The number 1 Tigers looking to go to 8-0 on the year, close out with a conference championship, and they're looking forward to the playoffs. But, you know, Tom Kraft's never going to let them look ahead, Jeff.
Never. That's because he's an old ball coach. Those guys they coach game to game.
And very important, you know, we talked in the open, potentially, hey, is there going to be any kind of a letdown because they beat Mount Sac and they got Cerritos next week? Well, emphatically the answer is no, at least by the performance in the first half. So Saul going to kick out of the hold of Warreneck. 43-yard field goal attempt. Low snap. Low kick. No good. Low and wide left, and RCC will take over. So when it rains, it pours. You know, and Gifford Lindheim's a good guy. He's a good coach. Things not going his way today for El Camino.
No, and I don't know if it's not poor play. You're just playing the number 1 ranked team.
Yeah, it's fair. I think you're 100% correct. This has a lot more to do with RCC than it does El Camino. RCC is just on a mission here. So from the 27, it's a 1st and 10. First half, here comes Lando Brown launching it down the field, and he's got a man all alone and a touchdown. J.R. Farrer with the catch, the sophomore from Highland, New Jersey, Donovan Catholic. A little bada bing for him on a 73-yard touchdown pass from Retzlaff, his 6th touchdown pass of the afternoon. And he may be well over 500 yards with that.
Definitely over 500 yards. But there was nobody even around him.
Yeah, it's a blown assignment somewhere. Nobody identified Farrer as somebody they had to cover. And Marroquin puts it through. And it's 44-7 in favor of RCC. Wow.
I can tell you, let's go to the stat sheet.
We have a minute. Nick Rice on the sideline for us. What do you got, Nick?
All right, luckily there hasn't been much injury-wise to report today, knock on wood for the rest of this one. Running back Brian Santana, who we saw carried off like a baby just a moment ago, he's running around. He appears to be okay. His return is probable, guys.
All right, good information, Nick Rice. El Camino going to be back on offense. And I don't know if, Santana's so important for El Camino. Do you risk putting him back out there after he's been dinged like that? I mean, you're down 37 points. Of course, the kid's going to want to go back in the game.
Yeah, if he's running around and feels fine, I say play him. If not, then rest him and get him going here for the next couple games. Get prepared for next Saturday.
So there's a new kicker in for RCC, but still going to go into the end zone for a touchback. I know he's going to try to bring it out. This is Uttendahl trying to bring it out for the 10-yard line, and he won't get much further. Still on his feet, circling back, and a cadre of tacklers show up. Lucas Fromel kicked it off, the freshman out of Servite, in place of Marroquin for RCC, and El Camino is going to start deep in their own end.
And Marroquin's just tired. Said, I'm exhausted. This leg is sore.
So it'll be at the 8-yard line for El Camino.
So after the game, they go to the whirlpool, and they put the ice in the whirlpool. He just puts his one leg in with his socks on.
I think the trainers would have a kind of
something,
a wrap all prepared for his leg.
Got to take care of those kickers.
Wildcat for El Camino, and pinballing up to about the 15-yard line is Cale Nilsson. Nilsson, a sophomore from Redondo Union High School, running back, taking the direct snap and bumps up for about a 6-yard pickup. 2nd and 4 coming up. And they'll run Wildcat again here. Breaks one tackle, but now the reinforcements show up. He'll lose about a yard on the play. Jumbo backfield. Making the tackle for RCC, Marcus Jones out of Fontana. Helping out Tasi Laufu. 3rd and 1 coming up. Need to get the ball over to the 16-yard line. So it'll be about 3rd and 2 as they lost a yard on the play. Carter back in at quarterback. Jillian Carter back in for El Camino at QB. So it's been kind of a revolving door for Gifford Lindheim and the Warriors of El Camino. Here's the give. Bradford trying to bounce it outside, and he won't. Just inside the 15, he'll go down.
Oh,
the first man to him was Arturo Orozco for RCC. Well, it looks like a favorable spot. They're moving the sticks.
That was a very nice spot. Charlie Chastain was very, very kind. He was like that referee. Everybody's the viral video going around. He moved that ball about 3 feet forward.
1st and 10. Yetz, couple of yards. Marquise runs right into the arms of Wanching. Albert Wuching makes the tackle. 3rd to the outside, incomplete. Lowering the intended receiver on the coverage, Keithan Gooden, the sophomore from Calabasas. So 3rd and 7 coming up. Marquise Yetz, the lone man in the backfield with Jelian Carter. Carter has a little bit of time. Now it closes up. He'll throw the ball downfield complete for a 1st down. They'll move the sticks all the way to the 36-yard line. Brendan Hodge absorbs some contact, and a fresh set of downs for El Camino.
El Camino getting a little bit of rhythm here.
Running that hurry up. Ross to the top of your screen. Loring split out to the near side. Trips to the far side for El Camino. Give to Bradford. Ducks inside. crosses up to the 40-yard line before Garcia brings him down. So 2nd and 6 coming up. Clock moving here in the third quarter, 45-7. Very much in control are the Tigers of RCC. Bradford, and down he goes. How do you do? Arturo Orozco just met Nick Smith, the sophomore, at the ball carrier. So ball back to the 37-yard line. They need to get up to the 46 for a first down.
Riverside going back to that three-man front. Oh, they're scooting everybody up here.
3rd and 9. Here comes the pressure, and down he goes. And the ball's loose. Like Sullivan broke through there on the blitz, and that ball squirted loose. El Camino recovers it. Big number 77, Raymond O'Keefe, the sophomore from South Torrance, falls on the ball. He's the lone returnee on the offensive line for El Camino, and that's from where they will kick. Adam Saul in to kick it away.
O'Keefe is the only guy that saw where that football was. That could have been an easy score for Riverside, but big fella landed right on it.
Played for the Spartans of South Torrance in that Pioneer League out in the South Bay.
Jumped on it like it was a landmine, saving everybody.
Here's the punt. Bounced at about the 40-yard line, and Jordan Williams picks it up at the 28. So a 49-yard kick, nominal return for Williams. And RCC will start around the 30-yard line.
A little shocked he grabbed that football. So are you excited for Halloween this year, Gazal? What are you going to go as?
Indeed I am.
Do you dress up?
I tweeted out my costume earlier. I'm going to go as a high school radio TV guy. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that over at Spirit.
Yeah.
I like, what did it say? You guys do all the work. It was great.
The give to Strong, and down he goes.
I did see that. What is it? It said that the play-by-play guy gets all the information, and the co-host.
Koa Carroll. Everybody else just shows up and wings it. Koa Carroll on the tackle, and a loss of a yard for Bryce Strong. Clock continues to move for RCC. At this point, that's really the most important thing. Of course, they want to keep advancing the ball. And Bud Burney in, so it looks like Jake Retzlaff's afternoon is done. Burney, the sophomore from Riverside Poly High School. And Tom Kraft will call timeout. Bud Burney now the backup quarterback in for Tom Kraft and Riverside City College. And a good day at the office for Jake Retzlaff.
Yeah, see if we can get his numbers, see if they've updated. And
like Jay Peterman once told Elaine Bennis, Mr. Retzlaff, thank you for a job done. No, I kid. I mean, what a well-done job today. 6 touchdown passes, I think close to 500 yards. I don't know if he's quite over 500 yards.
I think he is. The stats are not updated because I don't think they go that high. But because they still have the score at 30.
Because he had like 414 in the first half. And how long was it was like a 70-yard touchdown, or how long, whatever it was. That's at least 484, doing the math in my head. And he must have one other completion.
So they don't have him for the deep ball. So he had 439.
So he's over. It was like
500.
70 yards, yeah. So he's over 500. Wow, and it's midway through the third quarter, and he's out of the game. But smart move by Tom Kraft. You get Burney some reps in case you need him.
Yeah, I love Bud Burney. Great basketball player at Riverside Poly High School.
Where he played for?
The great Yancey Dodson.
Anytime we mention Yancey, it's fun. 2nd and 11. Strong with a carry. Runs right into Aaron House. House, an Inland Empire kid out of Redlands East Valley. Played with Kirk Pruick's 2014 CIF champion team. Third down coming up.
Right, he played in 2014?
Yeah, so he's been out of the game a little bit. Yeah, I think he was on that team. I think he graduated like 2015 or 2016. A lot of these guys will spend a couple years away from football or away from school for whatever reason.
That's a great story.
Couple of guys. Bernie to throw. Looking down the field. Does he have a man? Incomplete. He was looking for Jordan Williams. Diquez Walker, the sophomore from Delaware, on the coverage. You ever been to Delaware, Jeff?
I think I've driven through it. I can't say that I can remember anything about it.
Rehoboth Beach. The 302 area code in Wilmington, Delaware. That's what I like about sports. You learn about cities and states.
Well, you know, when we cover the college basketball and we travel, my first thing I always do is look up the school and look at who went there, the notable alumni.
Notable alumni. It's great. Here's the punt coming up from Campbell on 4th down.
We kind of made it a thing for a while, but you just gave us, what, Suge Knight?
Marion Suge Knight and the great Brian Wilson, El Camino alums. Of course, you know who got his coaching start here was the current Longhorns head coach, Steve Sarkisian.
Sark was at El Camino?
Yeah. Played and later coached. I think it's a great story. Which is a story I didn't know. From the 22 now, backing it off 5 yards. And here comes the punt from Campbell, who struggled a little bit today. Loring to return it. He'll catch at the 35-yard line. So a 43-yard kick. Loring spins down like a dreidel at about the 43-yard line where he's knocked down. Making the tackle for RCC. Among them is Eric Seahorn.
All right, give us the Sarkisian story.
So I didn't know this. He actually wasn't a football player out of high school. He went to USC to play baseball.
Sarkisian?
And then bounced out, and it was John Featherstone who got him at El Camino where he played, and then he ended up at BYU, had a good career at BYU, and was trying to kind of bounce around, you know, arena football, Canadian football, and Coach Featherstone said, hey, come be my offensive coordinator, and then he was off and running. And got a job at USC and then moved on, and eventually the head coach at Washington and now at Texas and USC as well, as that's incomplete from Carter, 2nd down and 10. I mean, I don't know. I remember looking at the numbers for his USC deal, and he owes John Featherstone, the great John Featherstone, a debt of gratitude.
And Featherstone just recently passed away from ALS.
ALS, yeah, it's very difficult. He 30-year head coach here at El Camino College from 85 to 2015. 2nd and 10 coming up. And here's the give to Bradford. Bradford running over the left side, gets up to about the 45-yard line. Will bring up a 3rd down. And, you know, we know Coach Featherstone. You look at the record, right? But I got a chance to meet the man, and just so dynamic and all this energy. And he's one of those guys, Jeff, you talk to him for 10 minutes, it's like you've known him your whole life. And, you know, he's from that area, the South Bay. He's a beach guy, was a surfer, a beach volleyball guy. Played for Don Coryell at San Diego State. Carter back to throw. He'll throw over the middle, and it's complete. That'll be a 1st down.
Now they're going to say not.
Incomplete. Hit the ground. So Jabari Hughes thought he had it. Hughes, the sophomore from Warren High, couldn't hold on to it, and 4th down coming up.
You can't argue with the umpire.
Why not?
Because it's Charlie Chastain. He's tough.
Featherstone,
he's a mean guy.
214 wins over his 30 years, 87 national championship, 2 state titles while at El Camino. Really kind of built that program into, you know, what it was. Fake. And Saul, oh man, that did not look fun.
Yeah, why would you do that? That's kicker abuse right there. That's punter abuse.
Arturo Orozco delivered the coup de grace there, and the ball goes over to RCC with 3:26 to go here in the 3rd quarter.
You get arrested for that in Delaware.
Good callback, Jeff Gorham. I just hope he's okay. I just hope nothing happens.
He walked off fine.
Yeah, he walked off all right.
He started to walk towards RCC's bench, but no.
RCC gets the ball on the 46-yard line, 45-7 here. We're in the 3rd quarter. Bud Burney back out, try to run some clock. Jaquez Jones in the backfield with Bud. I would guess they just keep the ball on the ground now.
I want to see Bud Burney get 800 yards passing.
Option. Bernie tackled by Jonathan Johnson. Johnson out of St. John Bosco, a Gardena kid. Ran track as well as played football at Bosco. Couple of yards for Bud Bernie out of Riverside Poly. But I had a nice discussion with Gifford Lindheim, the new head coach of El Camino, about Coach Featherstone. And Coach Lindheim was a GA for Chris Ault at Nevada, the legendary Coach Chris Ault, and he just finished up at Nevada. Burned to throw, complete to the outside to Farrar, and Johnson will tango him out of bounds at about the 35. It'll be a first down. So 9 more yards there. Move the sticks up for RCC. Now, Coach Lindheim is a West LA kind of Santa Monica guy. Went to Venice High School, I believe. So he's driving back to Southern California for Nevada and gets a call from John Featherstone to come join his staff. And the connection is a man named Danny Canales, who's now with the Seattle Seahawks. 35-yard line, Bernie flings it down the field, and it's going to be intercepted. Did he stay in bounds, though, is the question, and he did. It's a turnover. So making the pick, Justin Evans, the sophomore from Detroit, makes the pick, and the ball goes over to El Camino. But to finish off our story, Coach Lindheim, for a year, was the defensive coordinator for El Camino. This is back in 2008. And the next year, Santa Monica College offers him the job, and you know how junior college works. You don't always get a full-time teaching position.
Yeah.
He actually told Coach Featherstone, he's like, Feather, I like it here. I'll stay with you if you can do half what they're doing. And Coach Featherstone said, don't be silly. You go take that full-time job, and you go turn that team around, and you know what? We'll never know what will happen. And, of course, now he's walking in John Featherstone's footsteps at El Camino. So the ball was intercepted at the 6-yard line. And
now, see, I always think of Featherstone. Now, that's going to be a late hit. I always think of Featherstone as I was a big Wiggles guy for my oldest boy.
Right.
Captain Featherstone.
Captain Featherstone, well. Yeah, Feather was quite the guy. So you're right, a 15-yard penalty, and they actually had knocked the quarterback back. That was Mekhi Jordan in, the sophomore from Long Beach Poly. So kind of rotating quarterbacks in for El Camino, and will add 15 yards on. But what I loved about what Coach Gift told me was that, when they hired Lindheim, there was a lot of, consternation because, Ed Engel had been the longtime assistant for John Featherstone, and they wanted Engel to be the head coach with good reason. He's a good guy and a good coach. Bradford with the take, trying to get around the end, and he's pushed out of bounds after about 2-yard gain. And it was John Featherstone who, at a Hall of Fame ceremony, he invited Coach Lindheim, and then he introduced him to the community at El Camino, and basically, it's praise from Caesar, right?
Yes.
He in essence gave his endorsement, and that wasn't easy because I know how close Coach Featherstone and Coach Engel were, but he knew, this team and the school was moving into a different era, and he wanted nobody other than Gifford Lindheim to lead the Warriors into that next era as Mekhi Jordan navigates up to about the 32-yard line, a 9-yard pickup, very close to a first down for El Camino. It just shows you the character of the great John Featherstone, who's influenced so many different people in this game, so connected, and did such a wonderful job at El Camino for so many years. Played wide receiver for Don Coryell at San Diego State back in the day. Throw to the outside, complete to Loring. And Loring will get tangled up right there at the 30-yard line. 4th down coming up. Gordon there for the tackle. Keithan Gordon along with Nick Smith. But we have so many wonderful stories. You were a community college coach. In the California community college community, so many great stories about coaches and players and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, in all sports. You think of Dennis Rogers, great longtime coach, baseball coach at RCC.
Yep.
Bill Mulligan, Jerry Tarkanian.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom Kraft. Tom Kraft was a head coach at San Diego State. I mean, just the tree.
Saul's punt bounces out of bounds, down at the 26-yard line. So a 42-yard kick, no return, and that's the end of the third quarter with RCC leading El Camino 45-7.
But yeah, just community college in California has really changed over the years. It's kind of coming back to, California. For a long time, a lot of the great athletes were going out of state because community colleges can give scholarships outside of the state of California.
Yeah.
So you can offer them money and you can get them, places to stay. And a lot of kids from Southern California would leave because, hey, they get to get out of the area. But it's nice to see that California Community College strength of the football, basketball, and all sports has kind of come back, I think, partially because of the transfer portal.
Let's throw it down to Nick Rice on the sideline.
All right, we're joined by the Sports Information Director at RCC for years and years, Nico Della Valle. So we brought you on before to ask about the football program, and it's an incredible program. But I'm curious, what goes in from the outside building a program and creating the outside, not just the coaches and the players and stuff that people know? Who else is involved and how are they involved?
Yeah, so, first it takes a lot of support from the community, too. So you have to have a strong backing from everybody who wants to support athletics, and then building from there, right? Having quality people internally, and it depends on really what your school needs. Obviously you need a strong leader, and then you need people to support that, whether it's compliance, athletic training. Obviously you need to, perform well in the classroom in order to be successful on the field. So educational support, and then obviously what I do I think is very important, the communication, marketing, and really promoting, not only the success of the students, again, on the field, but, really promoting what they're going to do off the field and how they contribute to that community that supports us.
Yes, speaking of that, these aren't just athletes, these are guys that are winning in the classroom, and that just brings a whole new element of what it takes to be a student athlete and a football player here. And, the from the professors, from everybody there, it is pretty incredible to see what this school asks of these guys.
Absolutely. And I've talked about it before, we have an incredible support system internally, specifically educationally. Our faculty support us, tenfold. We have excellent people that run our athletic learning center, and Lauren Overbo and Jacqueline Myers. We had a team GPA that reached a cumulative team GPA across 19 programs that reached nearly a 3.0. So, yeah, if they're not doing it in the classroom, they can't do it out here. So they're doing it, and we're winning championships on the field, too. So it's great to see.
We're just about set for the start of basketball season and the winter sports. And what's really cool about RCC is, they take that show on the road. There's a lot of tournaments that you guys are involved in. Could you talk about what's up the pike for RCC in winter?
Yeah, absolutely. So next week we start our men's and women's basketball programs. We the November 4th and 5th, we have our first women's basketball tournament, the inaugural Title IX Invitational. Then following that one, we have our Earning Our Stripes tournament for our women's team. Again, so back-to-back tournaments, and then our men kickoff play. They host a tournament, their holiday classic, December 7th, 8th, and 10th, and we get quality competition there, and again another quality set of student athletes. So we're looking forward to some winter basketball.
Looking forward to it myself. Nico Della Valle, that's the Sports Information Director. Guys, back to you.
Jacques Jones looks like he picked up another first down for RCC. Thank you, Nick. And Nico does a great job for us, kind of getting us ready with all the information for broadcasts. So, Nico's been great to work with for us for the last 3 or 4 years, and does a great job for RCC. He's an old baseball guy. He's an old pitcher.
And he looks like a movie star.
That too.
So he's easy to talk to because he's easy on the eyes. He looks like a movie star.
I'm sure he'll appreciate that. I'm sure his mom will appreciate that, too, if she's watching. From the 43-yard line, first down for RCC. Just kind of running the ball, keeping it conservative between the tackles. And here's Jones again to the left side, where he'll be tackled.
Yeah, got all the
flag on the play. I'm sorry, there's a flag on the play. Tackle was made by Jacob Kalolo, and it is all going to come back, though.
Yeah, got some winter sports. Alicia Berber, the head basketball coach for the women's, does a great job. It's been there. I think she's been there almost 100 years. Been there about 30, I believe. And then Phil Matthews, who was a legend, a longtime Division I head coach, came back to Riverside to coach the Tigers. And he does a fantastic job. He can yell at you, though. He's one of those guys, if you go to basketball, he will scream in your face, make you feel like you're about this tall. But he's one of those guys that can build you back up quite quickly. So if you haven't been yelled at by Coach Phil Matthews, go watch a game. It's kind of fun.
1st and 20 from the 47. Right up the middle.
But a lot like Tom Kraft. You know, Tom Kraft was a Division I coach, and Phil Matthews started out in the JC ranks. He was a head coach at Ventura College for a number of years, won several state championships, then was the head coach at USF and a few other places in and around the Division I ranks.
You know, it's part of the concern that Coach Kraft has echoed to us with the success of the RCC program. Jones again. Lando Brown brings him down. The support from the administration, specifically in terms of the facility. You know, Wheelock needs an upgrade. The gym needs an upgrade. Hopefully they can get that bond issue going in the next election and get some upgrades going at RCC.
Yeah, give them a new field. I mean, I love that they play here at my alma mater, Ramona. But, hey.
I miss Wheelock, though. I like it here, but I miss Wheelock.
Yeah, Wheelock Stadium is one of those great places to watch a game. I was a ball boy about 45 years ago for the Tigers.
Third and 14. Bernie throwing it complete to the 40, inside the 40-yard line.
Yeah,
that was Alfred Jordan with the catch.
Remember as a kid I would stand next to Barry Meyer, and Barry Meyer was really kind to me. He would say, go, and I'd go out and run and get the football, and after kickoffs, I was all over that. Water boy. One of the more fun. See, I only did it, though, for one thing. I never got paid, but I always did it for gear. I got free gear as a kid.
I mean, with the success of the football program, they won the national championship in 2019, you'd think everybody would want them in a nice facility. They've had to play, now it's going to be 8 straight road games. Because although it's just across town, you got to prepare for this game like it's a road game. You got to get on a bus and come to Ramona High.
And you have to bring over your band?
So a penalty on the Tigers will back it off 5 yards. 10:34 to play in this one. Tigers very much in control, 45-7. They led 38-7 at half. Ghazal Hassan, Jeff Gorham with you. Nick Rice on the sideline, and our entire award-winning Riverside TV crew alongside. Campbell puts his foot into it. He's had one putt blocked today. And Loring will snatch it at about the 8-yard line and try to make a mad dash for it. He gets up high. How about that vertical? Wow. All the way up to about the 28-yard line.
That was like the Fosbury flop.
It's about a 38-yard kick, a return of about 20 yards.
He could have jumped over a bus.
I'm guessing he's a high jumper. How about that?
Man,
vertical?
He got elevated.
Loring goes airborne. What's that song? That Dua Lipa, Levitating, right? Dua Lipa, Levitating with DaBaby and Joshua Loring. They should have Loring on the remix of that one. So from the 28, it's a 1st and 10. Here's Yetz dancing. Nice little stiff arm, but he'll get maybe back to the line of scrimmage.
I want to see that in a replay. If we can get the guys in a booth, I can tell you how high he went up off the ground.
Devon Stewart in on the hit for RCC.
Remember, I was the cheer coach. Here, let's see if we can see it. Here it is. Let's see. Watch. He's a flyer. He's a high flyer. Look at that. He's even out of the picture. He did a half gainer.
So the Tigers will call timeout here on 2nd down with 9:40 to play here in the 4th quarter. 45-7 lead. And Joshua Loring, feats of athletic. What feats of strength on Festivus? No, that's a feat of athleticism.
I thought
that's the heights of athleticism because he got up so high.
Man, look one more time. But let's see if he gets out of the view of the screen.
Yeah, I can't. There's so much. I can't see anything. There's a glare. I can't see a damn thing.
He's gone.
And I'm guessing he must have been a high jumper.
He's taller. Let's see here. We got number 93. 6'3", 260. He was a good, I want to say 9 feet.
That's for sure a 6 foot high jump, correct? At least 6 foot.
Oh, he was up there like 9 feet. He didn't stick the landing, though. You know what? That was a great effort. He didn't stick the landing. Who was the girl that hurt her ankle? Remember, and she stuck it?
Carrie Strug.
There was no Strug. Carrie Strug.
So marveling at Joshua Lorick, the penalty on RCC will move it up 5 yards.
I want to get that. That needs to get sent to somebody. That was awesome.
I'll have to put that clip and have it.
That was like Cirque du Soleil.
Indeed it was. It was like the flying trapeze with no trapeze. Mekhi Carter completes it to about the 35-yard line, and rumbling up to midfield is the tight end, Joey Grant, the freshman from El Segundo High.
Look how big that guy is. How big is he? He's taller than I am.
Joey Grant, 6'7", 245.
Man, that's a big fella. He's my size almost. I got him by an inch maybe.
So he moves it up to the 43-yard line, so a first down for El Camino as we are moving to 9 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter. Mekhi Carter turns and gives to Yetz. Marquise Yetz changes direction and runs up to midfield. Tackle on the play made by Gerald Mitchell for RCC. Jason Mitchell played for Nick Rogers at Cajon. How about that? 2nd and 5 for El Camino. Carter into the flat. Complete for a first down.
Did you see what Nick Rogers looks like? He almost has a Captain Lou Albano beard. Looks like he should have like rubber bands and stuff in that thing.
Colby Bell with the reception. So you went Lou Albano, yeah. And how about, listen, you win, 33, 34 league games in a row?
You can look any way you want.
You can grow that beard, too. Congratulations to Coach Rogers and the Cowboys of Cajon, Citrus Belt League champions yet again.
He looks like he makes moonshine.
Like the old Denver Pile from the Dukes of Hazzard.
Ball
on the turf, but Mekhi Carter falls right on top of it. Sorry, Mekhi Jordan falls on top of it. I was thinking of Jalion Carter. You know Denver Pile? I believe he's also in Bonnie and Clyde. Gene Hackman's in that movie, too. It is a classic. I don't know if you've ever seen Bonnie and Clyde.
Of course I have.
A little violent, but it's a classic. 7:44 to play, and Jordan completes it to the outside, and they move it on up. So some guys getting some opportunities. That's Roy Davis. Roy Davis, a sophomore from Baton Rouge, Madison Prep High School, moving it up to the 30-yard line, 32-yard line.
That's Warren Beatty, isn't it?
Yeah, Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway play
Dunaway.
The lead roles. It was a kind of groundbreaking movie for the era. You never saw something like that. Jordan trying to escape, and down he goes. Gilmore takes him down at the 32. So clock still moving.
Hey, we never finished our. Do you hand out candy at Halloween?
You know, I don't get. You know, when I live in Orange County, we get kids. I don't really get kids where I live.
See, in my neighborhood, because, you know, I live in the great stately Gorham Manor. You've been there.
Which I've been to many times now.
And they give out those big, giant candy bars. Last year, a guy handed out grape nuts, though. He gave out boxes of grape nuts.
You live near Wilford Brimley? Jordan on the option, still on his feet, dancing over the 30, and finally bought down inside the 30-yard line.
He must work for Post or one of those things. He had a big pallet, and he was handing out boxes. Full boxes, not little ones.
Oh, well, okay. Well, that's different.
My kids came home and go, Dad, we got cereal. I go, why do you have 4 boxes of grape nuts? And I gave it to them that night, and they said, Dad, we're never going to that house again.
3rd and 6.
I'm going to hand out Reese's peanut butter cups. So anybody comes to my house, they're getting some good candy.
Bunch to the near side. Now here's the throw, and down he goes. Jordan looked up, and he was already in the clutches almost, making the tackle. Adrian Williams out of John W. North, freshman linebacker for the Tigers.
3rd and Chicago guy in. We've had a couple of those. Tupou.
Oh, face mask, though, will keep the ball with El Camino. We'll see another Husky next year. Danasio Mikaele, I have been told, is enrolled at RCC, getting his academics together, ready to jump out and play next year.
He's the human bowling ball that can scale, jump like that guy did earlier.
He can jump a little bit.
Like Loring.
So the ball will move to the 16-yard line. Check that. No, was it it's a 14? The 14-yard line. 1st and 10 from the 14. Half the distance from the 28. First down for El Camino. Jordan to throw. Juggling it, finally bringing it down, and then Quinn Sullivan makes the tackle. Darrell West III makes the catch. He's a Torrance kid, but played at Sierra Canyon.
Sierra Canyon, isn't that where the little LeBron plays?
Basketball, not football.
Are they good in football?
They are pretty good in football.
Do they have any other famous people's kids? They do have a bunch of famous people over there.
I don't know if he's still there. For many years, the coach there was Andre Chevalier, who was a CSUN alum.
Yes.
Deflected, incomplete. Intended receiver was Joey Grant, the tight end, but somebody got a hand on that one. And 3rd and 10 coming up.
I know Coach Chevalier very well. He was very good friends with my father. He's still there coaching?
Yeah,
I don't know.
He was at Sierra Canyon. I forget where he was before that. A lot of folks wanted him to get a shot at the CSUN gig, which I don't blame him for. So trips to the far side on 3rd and 10. Jordan puts it up into the corner of the end zone, incomplete. Lewis on the coverage. Uttendahl is the intended receiver. 4th down coming up.
And a flag on the play here.
Shane Smith has run a tight ship today, the white hat today. Leader of the officiating crew.
His dad, Dick Smith, one of the legendary referees here in the local region, has the late, great Dick Smith. And his longtime partner, Al Jury, was a white hat in the NFL, which we mentioned earlier.
So they were going to throw an interference penalty, but they ruled the ball was uncatchable, and 4th down coming up. And a field goal attempt for RCC. We'll see Adam Saul out there again. So this should be about a 32-yard field goal. No, okay, so now they'll switch. So Saul will hold and Warreneck will kick. And this will be about a 32-yard kick. So I guess beyond a certain range, they'll have Saul do the honors.
Are you allowed to wear shorts to kick?
Warreneck, 3 for 7, 31 yards. I guess so.
He's got shorts on. Those are shorts.
Almost like biker shorts. And it spins wide right. It spins in, I guess. It wasn't wide. It was through that right upright. So it didn't look pretty, but it got the job done. 3 points on the board for El Camino.
Well, when I kick, I will not wear shorts, I promise you.
So 45-10 here with 5:03 to play. And RCC just checking them off and moving down. They got 5 minutes left in this one. They'll move to 8-0. I mentioned it. There were 2 polls. There are 2 polls in college, junior college football. And in both polls, RCC got every single first-place vote, Jeff. All 25 votes this year.
Oh, they better.
And they've been more or less number 1 all year. I believe in Brad Hoysett's JC Gridiron Dirty 30, they were 3rd in the country.
The Dirty 30, that's what they call it.
Yeah.
They need to rename that.
That's what he calls it.
Yes. He needs to rethink that. That was a class I took in college.
Oh, okay.
Dirty 30. You never took that in college?
I went to a UC, Jeff.
So did I.
For a year. I'm just giving you a hard time.
That was a great biology class in college.
Espadrone from the 5. Dances outside.
Oh.
And the hit, he got up over the 30-yard line and bounces up.
So what is RCC in the top 30, in the Dirty 30?
Yeah, they're number 3.
Number 3?
In the country.
Well, they should be number 1. Who's number 1?
They could be by the end. I don't remember. I think somebody out of Mississippi or something.
They don't play football in Mississippi.
They'll get their chance. RCC will get their chance because the California playoffs are always rough and tumble.
Why don't they do like California School for the Deaf does? Play all the states.
They should.
The California School for the Deaf, they're marking off all
I'm
those wins.
guessing if RCC wanted to do that, they could probably get 5 non-conference opponents to come to play them.
Play different, best in the state.
Yeah.
Take care of it. And do it every year. And then when we hit all 50 states and Guam and Puerto Rico, then Coach Kraft can retire.
Hand off up the middle for about 4.
Yeah, you base his contract on the number of states he defeats. When he gets to 50 wins, then he can retire.
So making the carry there, it's Cam Leofa, the freshman out of Corona, by way of Mater Dei.
And we still want him to coach long after he's gone, too. I mean, seriously. Well, weekend at Bernie's?
No, you do a seance. You coach by seance. That's a movie. That's a Will Ferrell movie. Will Ferrell plays the son of a deceased coach, and he starts coaching through seance and starts winning. 2nd and 5. Leofa dancing to the outside, turns the corner, and he's ridden down over the 40-yard line. Making the tackle for El Camino is Ace Falanafoa.
I don't know if Coach Kraft is happy with me saying that, though. You don't just have a lifetime contract. It goes on forever.
Well, for what it's worth, when I talked to Coach Kraft before last week's game, he seemed he wanted to be around and coaching for a long time. He said, I still got the energy. I still enjoy it. Still love doing the developmental stuff. Because what happens when you're coaching, obviously the games are the easy part. The tough part is the day-to-day stuff, is doing the development stuff. And he said, hey, I still enjoy that. From the 33 first down, and the handoff and down he goes. That was Leofa again being tackled by Jacob Kalolo, the freshman from Lawndale.
Kalolo's had a pretty good game. Called his name quite a few times.
He stepped up. Yeah, he's kind of been alternating with Lando Brown over there. He admires Von Miller. He's a big Von Miller guy. Haven't gotten much pressure with regard to the passing. We already had 500 yards passing from Jake Retzlaff while he was in there. He left midway through the 3rd quarter. But you like what you saw from Lando Brown.
I was just thinking of Lando Brown. I was just thinking if he comes to games, he should wear a cape.
What have we here?
He's showing up in a cape.
Well, hopefully if he gets...
my mom's a seamstress. I can have her make a Lando cape.
Yeah. Well, and El Camino has the perfect colors, right?
They
Wasn't
do.
Lando wearing a blue shirt
Yes.
in Empire on Cloud City?
Just show up to games like that. That'd be awesome.
He should go play in Minnesota somewhere because Cloud City, right? Yeah. No, just talented young fella. And this is what we talk with Tom Kraft about this all the time, about the idea of junior college players. There's something generally amiss, whether it be grades or behavior. All that's amiss about Lando Brown is he's 5'11", unfortunately. And this is a game of giants. Robert Valentine takes the handoff and gets a couple yards. We had a great conversation a couple of weeks ago with Cody Roloff. Cody Roloff is the head football coach at Temescal Canyon.
Yes.
And he had actually been on Jim Mora's staff. He'd been a recruiting assistant at UCLA under Jim Mora. He had a great line about certain players. He's like, hey, I talk to college coaches all the time about performance. And I say, hey, do you want a playmaker or do you want a cookie cutter? Meaning, hey, do you want the traditional 6'5", 290-pound pass rusher, or are you willing to take a flyer on a guy who actually performs on the field and you can see it on the film?
Yeah, in fact, you had a prediction with their quarterback. You said he'd be great in the RCC system.
I would. But, he should get a chance to play D1 somewhere.
Yeah, he's a very good player.
Right up the middle, and that's his Valentine to midfield, or to the 45-yard line, that painted rim visage at midfield. Making the tackle for El Camino is David Madrid. Madrid, the sophomore from El Segundo High. And the clock will move. It's 4th down. But, Tom Kraft made a great point to me. And he said, hey, if you're a situation as a player and you're going to a school they're going to take, quote-unquote, take a flyer on you, are you really going to get a chance? Let's say UCLA says, all right, come and be with us for a year as a walk-on or whatever. Are you really going to get a chance to showcase your skills? Are you better off as the punt is put away by Campbell and bounces inside the 25, and it'll be fielded right at the 19. Are you going to get a better chance if you play that freshman year at that D1 program, or are you going to get a better chance at playing your freshman year at a JUCO?
I think at a JUCO, if you're not going to get any time and you have an opportunity to play, you have to play.
Particularly, and we were talking specifically about a guy like, our guy Javon McGlory, but if you're an undersized player, aren't you better off playing somewhere where you can prove that, hey, I'm playing against better competition at the same level I played at a high school,
yes.
like a guy like Lando Brown who's dominant? That shows something to recruiters.
It shows a lot. I mean, and you watch the way he's intense the entire game. He's one of those guys that, like you said, the only thing that's holding him back is a coach who wants to take a flyer on that kid and his size. And I'll tell you what, somebody take a flyer on him.
Tyler Adams with the carry. But it does make sense. I mean, so many players transfer now anyway.
Yes.
Does it matter if you're a D1 transfer or a JC transfer,
No.
just to play your freshman year? As we're under a minute to play, the clock continues to run. Jordan with the completion to the outside, crawling up to the 19-yard line.
It's like I think Jake Retzlaff was offered by San Diego State this week. So I mean, it's a great point. Guys like Jake Retzlaff goes to a JC and makes a name for himself, and now everybody wants him. He's going to come in as a junior and play.
Here's the option, Jordan keeping it. Jordan crosses up over the 31-yard line, gets the first down. They'll stop the clock and move the sticks. But, I mean, Coach Kraft made just a great point about that. And that's it. That's the end of this one, 45-10. Never really in doubt after that first half. A 38-7 lead at the half, and they kind of cruise the rest of the way, do the Tigers of RCC, Jeff.
Yeah, and it helps when your quarterback comes out in the first half and throws for basically over 414 yards, gets 500 just going into the third. Hey, that says enough right there.
Another impressive performance as the Tigers move to 8-0. The last 2 weeks, they'll be on the road at Cerritos and at Chaffee. And then obviously, if they were to get into the playoffs and they win the league, they would host at least the first playoff game, if not both playoff games. Jeff, I'm guessing if they can win the last two, the Tigers will probably be the number one seed in Southern California.
Yeah, and they're going to have their chance to play some home games. The question is, where will that home be? And will we be on the call? Because I'll tell you what, I want to follow this team all the way to the state championship.
So as it stands right now, they cannot host playoff games here at Ramona High School, so they will have to find a college facility to host those matchups if the Tigers do indeed make the SCFA playoffs. And I know, Coach Kraft doesn't want to hear any talk of playoffs yet, but we'll go down to the field to Nick Rice. First, he's got head coach Tom Kraft with him. All right, I guess he doesn't, so we'll keep it right here. 45-10, the final score here. And I guess getting back to that point, Jeff, I mean, what are some logical points? I know James Williams says hello to us as he's heading out, RCC alum, former editor of the Viewpoints, who's now an associate sports editor at the Riverside Press Enterprise. And now I believe, I assure you, in the vein of Clerks 3, I assure you, Nick Rice has Tom Kraft.
All right, we got take two. I'm joined by Tom Kraft. What are your thoughts on today's game?
Well, I thought we got off to a good start and ended the first half well and started out with the starters. First couple of series, it went well, and then we played some people that we wanted to get experience, and they need the experience. So I'm not pleased with the penalties, particularly on defense. They got a lot of turnovers, but it's something we expected.
So another great game from the quarterback today, but there is another week where a couple of passes here are getting dropped to the goal line, and here one on the interception. How do you fix that down the stretch?
Well, yeah, I think he's got 8 interceptions, and 5 of them are off catchable balls that are deflections, so it's no indication of what he's doing statistically. I mean, he's having a great year. You guys got to do a better job of catching the ball, and it's the guys that get an opportunity that normally aren't starting. So we want to continue to bring those guys along, and we're going to need them down the stretch.
Joined by Tiger coach Tom Kraft. Defensively, this was probably one of your better performances of the year. What are your thoughts of that side?
Yeah, I thought we made them turn the ball over well at times, but way too much breakdowns in the secondary. We can't allow that. And but overall, it was a solid game for us. They've got some good athletes on that team. They're dangerous. They played Cerritos 2022 last week, so we know we're going to have a real tough one with Cerritos next week. But overall, it was a good win for us today.
Well, Coach, best of luck. A couple of games on the road to close the season as the Tigers try and keep it going next Saturday. Guys.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Coach Kraft. And I think the biggest point today, Jeff, was you avoid the letdown, right? You come off the big win, the triple overtime win against Mount Sac. You got Cerritos looming next week, and the Warriors haven't been playing so well. They'd lost 2 games. Very easy to overlook them. The Tigers certainly didn't.
Yeah, he didn't. And I'll tell you, they like you said, they take one game at a time. No snake bite game this week. In fact, I think they were really prepared for this El Camino team, but they have to finish off business. They got to win the next 2, and I'm telling you, next week's going to be a tough one at Cerritos.
Jake Retzlaff, he didn't have a bad game last week, but Mount Sac did some things that put him in some disadvantageous positions. The Tigers last week took advantage of the run game. Well, the passing game, as we like to joke, was fully operational today.
It was anytime you get 500 yards and, 6 touchdowns or 5 touchdowns, you're doing everything correctly.
Defense, give me a little bit of assessment. We marvel at the adjustments James Cook makes all season. He's obviously a very he's a very cerebral guy. He really understands his players well. You can tell the players really love him. But it just seems like he surprises us every week. Why are we surprised, Jeff?
Because I'll tell you, he has his guys prepared and ready to play. And, last week, I don't know, it took him a while to kind of get going. I don't know if it's just because of the Mount Sac was so good. But this week, they were completely prepared. And the scouting, you could tell he watched film, and that defense was stellar. They knocked out El Camino here in the first quarter.
Last question from me to you. You angry with DeMarco Moore that he cost you a Sunday? He didn't get a second pick.
He didn't. And I'm a little disappointed in that. In fact, if I ever see Mr. DeMarco Moore, I'm going to have to say, buddy, you owe me a Sunday that I can give my guy Gazal Hassan.
45-10 the final today. RCC with the win. They go to 8-0, number 1 in both California state polls. And they're just kind of rolling forward. But Coach Kraft mentioned a big showdown next week on the road against Cerritos. But until then, we'll say so long from Ramona High School. For Jeff Gorham, for the great Nick Rice, and for our entire award-winning Riverside TV crew, the final score today from from Ramona High School in Riverside, 45-10 RCC over El Camino. My name is Gazal Hassan. We'll talk to you next time. So long, everybody.